The Yankees versus Red Sox. The game's best pitchers go at it in the game's greatest rivalry. For Clemens, there is more to it than that. He tries to annihilate the team that rejected him and to beat the man who replaced him. Pedro pitches to change history, trying to lead his team to places that the Rocket could not. Today, these teams and pitchers face off, searching for early season supremacy. It's Clemens versus Pedro. The classic battle begins right now on Fox 5. Welcome, everyone, to New York Yankees baseball here on Fox 5. It's the Yankees and the Red Sox, second game of this four-game series. And the pitching matchup, what a matchup it is. Roger Clemens versus Pedro Martinez. Last night's game, an extra inning game here at Fenway. Mariano Rivera, Manny Ramirez, and it was Ramirez finally besting Mariano. He was 0 for 12, but comes up with the big hit. So if money can buy you a win, it certainly bought a win for the Red Sox last night. Roger, well, the Rocket blasted off here at Fenway. That's where he has made his name. He now pitches for the Yankees, but they still hang that number 21 here at Fenway. Hello, everybody. I'm Bobby Mercer along with Tim McCarver. Welcome to New York Yankees baseball here on Fox 5. Well, we had a game last night that you just couldn't believe. Lots of excitement. Today's game, well, just sit back, take a deep breath, and we've got a pitching matchup that you cannot believe. You got that deep breath?
I got the deep breath.
Let's talk about this first guy, Tim. He's already just become the all-time American League strikeout leader.
Well, the one thing about these pitchers are not going to let them catch their breath this afternoon. Roger Clemens, 13 strikeouts the last time he faced Pedro Martinez. That was May 28th of last year. As you see, he got Trot Nixon there, but it was Nixon who had hit a two-run home run in the ninth inning to best Roger Clemens with remarkable career numbers.
Well, the Rocket with 5 Cy Youngs and a 7-time All-Star. And on the other side, this other guy, well, last year, he only had, he had that big inflated ERA, 1.67.
That's the first time I've ever heard an announcer refer to Pedro Martinez as that other guy. He is that other guy. He is some kind of pitcher. 17 strikeouts against the Yankees, the best performance ever as far as strikeouts are concerned. That was done on September 10, 1999, and talk about career numbers. He can match the Rocket.
Only 126 and 56 in this young career. 29 years old for Pedro Martinez, already a 4-time All-Star, and the New York Yankees know that they cannot make many mistakes against a guy like Pedro Martinez. Second game coming up. We're going to have all the action for you right here on Fox 5. Stay with us. New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5 is brought to you in part by the Odyssey minivan from Honda. By McDonald's new fruit and yogurt parfait. Try it today. McDonald's, we love to see you smile. And by the New York State Lottery. Have you bought your lotto ticket yet? New York Lotto, play today. And by your local Lincoln Mercury dealer. We are about ready to go here at Fenway. What a beautiful day it has turned out to be. The wind still blowing a little bit from left to right. Pedro Martinez now taking his warm-up tosses. So let's take a look at the starting lineup for the New York Yankees this afternoon. The guys that will be facing Pedro, brought to you by McDonald's. Left field is Chuck Knobloch. Got his first look at the Green Monster last night. Derek Jeter at shortstop, batting second. Paul O'Neill at right field. David Justice, the designated hitter. Jorge Posada behind home plate. Tino at first base. Alfonso Soriano, who had a big game last night at second base. Scott Brocious at third base, batting eighth. And Clay Bellinger in center field this afternoon. Michael Coleman bothered by a right hamstring. So the Yankees are without a couple of center fielders.
Hey, look at the Red Sox lineup brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Troy O'Leary in left field. Carl Everett, the center fielder. Trot Nixon in right. Shea Hillenbrand at third. Craig Graybeck, the shortstop. Jose Offerman at second. Brian Daubach down at first. And Jason Varitek behind the plate. He usually catches the great Pedro Martinez. Folks, if you want to see a lot of swings, like you're swinging either underwater or through Vaseline, Watch the Yankee hitters, and not only the Yankee hitters, but anybody in the American League, anybody who faces Pedro Martinez on that changeup. He makes you commit so early that that swing resembles a slow-motion swing.
To go along with that pinpoint control, let's take a look at the umpires today. Tim Tashida is behind home plate. Jerry Davis over at first base. Rich Riker down at second, and Mark Carlson over at third. And the sellout crowd here at Fenway already getting into it as Chuck Knobloch's name was mentioned. Knobloch batting .227, no home runs, 5 RBIs. The oldest ballpark in existence today. Knobloch on a mini 3-game hitting streak as he steps in against Pedro Martinez. You will look at some of the, well, we'll tell you about some of these career numbers. Strike one to Knobloch. These hitters versus not only Martinez, but also Clemens. Knobloch, a 148 hitter lifetime against Pedro. Just missing on the outside part of the plate. Now it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Here is the Budweiser scouting report on Pedro Martinez. You're kidding, right? That's it. We will elaborate, obviously. A fastball and a changeup. The disparity between the two pitches is so great. He has thrown nothing but fastballs to Knobloch so far. His breaking ball, his third best pitch. But his breaking ball is a breaking ball that most pitchers would love to have.
Only 5'11", 170 pounds, but he puts plenty behind that 5'11" frame. We mentioned a 1.74 earned run average last year. And a swing and a miss, strike three. So Pedro striking out the first Yankee to come to bat against him. Strikeouts are nothing new to Pedro Martinez.
You rarely see Martinez throw any hitter, whether it's the leadoff hitter or a cleanup hitter, the same pitch. 5 straight fastballs to get Knobloch.
Now Derek Jeter stepping in, 345 average. Actually, DJ with one of the better averages against Pedro lifetime, batting .293 with a home run. And a little sidearm action there, tailing that ball back out over the outside corner. And one thing that Martinez does so well, he gets that first pitch strike on hitters. Never an earned run average in his career above 3. Well hit into center field, and coming on is Everett to make the play.
Talk to the hitters in the American League, and most of them will say, look for the fastball against Martinez because you're not going to hit the changeup anyway. Derek Jeter appeared to be looking for that high fastball, hits it hard, but Everett responds with a fine play.
Batting third, number 21, the right fielder.
The most speed in the outfield for the Red Sox comes from Carl Everett in center field as Paul O'Neill steps in. Like we said today, we have a little bit of wind blowing from left field to right field. Bright, sunshiny day. And it's strike one once again.
All fastballs so far.
O'Neill with a lifetime home run against Martinez. As you take a look at one of the famous ballparks in all of existence of baseball. A fastball again, this time missing inside. Martinez with 284 strikeouts last year. Career numbers against Martinez. Struck out 330. This hit well into the gap, left center field. On the run is O'Leary, and he'll catch up with it. You may see that quite often with that wind blowing in from left field. So O'Leary takes a base hit away from O'Neill. Yankees are gone. Red Sox coming up, no score. No score at Fenway. The Red Sox come to bat here in the bottom of the first inning against Roger Clemens. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Boston. Brought to you by right field. Jose Offerman at second base, batting second. Carl Everett, the former Yankee, in center field. Designated hitter Manny Ramirez, and what a night he had last night. Troy O'Leary in left field. Jason Varitek gets to start behind home plate. Shea Hillenbrand, one of the fine young rookies in baseball today. At third base, Brian Daubach at first, and then Craig Graybeck gets to start at shortstop.
The Yankees defense brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Chuck Knobloch, his 10th straight game. I think that is his 11th straight game in left field. Clay Bellinger in center today. Bobby mentioned the hamstring pull. Bernie Williams still visiting his father, who is gravely ill in Puerto Rico. Paul O'Neill in right field. Scott Brocious, Jeter, Soriano, Martinez in the infield. And Jorge Posada behind the plate to catch Roger Clemens. Roger 2-0 this year. 4 times in his career. For his first 3 starts of the season, he has won 4 times. So the former Red Sox against his old team and his old nemesis leading off.
Certainly no stranger to this ballpark and this pitching mound. When Roger was walking out to take his warm-up tosses, he was warmly greeted here at Fenway by you-know-what. There were lots of boos going on. And the first pitch is like Pedro to the Yankees, in there for a call strike to Trot Nixon. Nixon with a couple of lifetime home runs against Roger Clemens, batting .206 on the year, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Well hit into center field. Bellinger on the move towards right center. You can see that ball as it drifts towards right field. We told you about that wind. And I think that that wind held that ball in the ballpark.
Well, the wind blowing from left toward the right field line, but not out in right center field. Had Nixon pulled that ball a little more, it's probably out of the ballpark. But right in that area, the wind not that much of a help.
You know, the ball was actually hit more towards center field and it just kind of drifted over towards right center. Jose Offerman swinging at the first pitch and fouling it back out of play. Offerman has been hot with the bat this year. And this early going in baseball. Clemens, strike 2. Now it's no balls and 2 strikes to Offerman.
You can hear the chants of Roger, Roger, reminiscent of Darryl Strawberry in 1986 during the series, when they were singing and chanting, Darryl, Darryl.
Bat down low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes with Carl Everett waiting on deck. Offerman, one of 2 switch hitters in the lineup today, 1 of 3 that is. He has hit in all 7 games that he has played at second base. Grounder towards second. Soriano will throw out Offerman, and there's 2 gone for Boston.
You folks at home can almost tell the pitches by the swings of the hitter. Jose Offerman, there's no check swing on a fastball, but check swings come on Clemens's splitter. Ball going down, check swing, easy grounder to second base. A better look at it right here. Oops, didn't want to swing, but the ball hit the bat. The bat didn't hit the ball.
So with 2 gone, that'll bring up Everett, the center fielder, who crowds the plate on the inside. And the first pitch in there for a call strike. I say that because both of these pitchers, Martinez and Clemens, they command the inside part of the plate. And that's how they pitch. And they set it up that way in order to make everything else work. Put finger down low for a ball. That'll leave the count up at 1-1. Everett, a 300 hitter with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. Standing right on the line, if you can say that. That's hit hard back up the middle. First base hit in the game. Bring up Manny Ramirez.
Looked like a splitter from Clemens. It goes down, but Everett, we talked about it last night, he likes that ball away from him. And he rockets one back off the rocket, and a big hand from Manny Ramirez. Understandable.
Everett scored 2 of the 3 runs for Boston last night, and the big guy of the hour was Manny Ramirez, finally getting to Mariano Rivera at the bottom of the 10th inning with 2 men out and 2 men on. An RBI machine Ramirez has been in his career. Lifetime versus Clemens, 6 for 32 with 3 home runs.
Our Continental quote book on Manny Ramirez: I haven't felt that good at the plate. I was just trying to relax, trust my hands. I'm not going to let myself get a big hit about this one game.
Split finger down low. It's a ball and a strike.
Joe Torre with the option of putting Ramirez on last night. Joe telling us before the game that he trusted his pitcher, and that was Mariano Rivera. And by trusting Mariano, you want to pitch to him? Mariano said yes, and the call went to the Red Sox as Ramirez singled in 2 runs. What a 10th inning that was last night, though. Well, Soriano trying to steal third base, the hit by Brocious. Man.
Yeah, and you know, last night was just one of those exciting games. It was a good game to watch.
Great game.
A lot of good plays, a lot of good pitching by both sides, starting pitching and in the bullpen. Pitch will get away from Posada. 2 balls and a strike.
Got to be a pass ball.
Yeah.
And Bobby, remember what we were talking about today? We were talking about it happened last night. Most pass balls on a catcher come right below the shoulder. Joe Torre talking about it to Mel Stottlemyre right there. And I was talking to Jorge about it. This ball, watch the glove. No, that was a little lower. I thought it was right about shoulder high, but it was a little lower. That ball's got to be handled by Posada. Not like last night's pass ball thrown by Rivera.
Very key play in that game, too, and the ball got by him to allow those 2 runners to move up. Brocious hit third, and Ramirez won't do it this time, but the Red Sox leave a man on. We've played 1, still no score. Lots of action here at Fenway. Jorge Posada waiting his as David Justice will lead it off, but after in between innings, this is what happened.
Joe Torre, of course, the former great catcher for the Atlanta Braves. Last night's game, Rivera with runners on at first and second. That put runners on at second and third. And today, Roger Clemens. And both balls should be handled. Both balls were pass balls. It appeared that with Clemens that Posada tried to turn that glove over, pointing the webbing toward the ground, but unfortunately didn't make the turn, almost like a guy would bake pizzas. That pizza move, catchers call it. Unable to do that.
Well, we look at Martinez's numbers since 1997 in April. Just unbelievable numbers. Only 5 and 4 career-wise against the Yankees. That's up high for a ball. Now it's 1-1 to Justice. Justice still looking for his first hit. Big swing there. He was swinging for the fences. Pedro blows it by. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
David, only 1 hit against Pedro Martinez in 19 at-bats, but he's got a lot of company, and all hitters know that.
0 for 9 in his last 9 at-bats. Up high as Martinez has used, I would say 95% hard stuff. Hasn't thrown many change-up yet in this game.
That was a tailing fastball right there that just misses away.
Posada wakes on deck. And that tailing fastball this time gets Justice swinging at it. Second strikeout for Martinez.
Well, you can't think with him either. He usually comes out with an assortment of pitches, and today so far it's been an assortment of fastballs.
Pedro, like a lot of great players, they will use certain things that happen in games, and Pedro has said that I look for everything: attitudes, frustrations, weaknesses. There's some of them that will let one at bat frustrate them for the whole game. He's talking about the opposing hitter. That was the breaking ball. Inside and low to Posada. So he will look right into the hitter's eyes and see if he can see something. We see the Honda batting leaders. Can't even imagine what Juan Gonzalez is going to do this year. After a great start if he stays healthy. Good breaking ball here.
So after all of those fastballs to the first 4 Yankee hitters, 2 straight breaking balls to Posada.
And there's a fastball, and Posada lets it go. Obviously, he had to be looking for something off speed.
Sure.
That's foul back and out of play. I think the only chance the hitter has against Pedro is that when you go up there, you got to stick to your plan. And you look for a ball that you can put some wood on. If you don't get it and you get 2 strikes on you, then you just kind of pray. But if you deviate from your own plan, you could be in trouble. There's the off-speed pitch way out in front with Posada. Martinez now has struck out the first 2 here in the second.
3 of the 5 pitches to Posada breaking balls, and Jorge comes up empty on this diving breaking ball out of the strike zone.
The first baseman, Tino.
Bobby, what you were talking about, Martinez's innate ability to read a hitter. In bridge, they call it table presence. It's knowing your partner when he's bidding. It's knowing your opponents defensively. If Martinez played bridge, he'd have great table presence, believe me.
This is Tino Martinez. And the off-speed pitch. He has shown a lot of off-speed pitches to the left-handed hitters.
Last 2, the 3 curveballs to Posada, and now for the first time today, the straight changeup. Another one.
This time on the outside corner. He worked quickly. Inside, 1 outside, 1 inside. It's interesting just to look at the pattern that Pedro Martinez uses against each and every hitter.
Which is no pattern.
Good way of putting it. That's the reason if you have your own game plan, you better stick with it. Popped him up. Difficult play, Veritek. And he makes it. So the Yankees go 1-2-3 here in the second. We played an inning and a half. No score here at Fenway.
Interesting nuance to today's game. Troy O'Leary is starting in left field. However, he's only 3 for 28 against Roger Clemens for his career. Dante Bichette, another viable candidate for left field to start there, is 9 for 20 against Roger Clemens. But Jimmy Williams probably sticking with defense as Troy O'Leary, with 2 out and nobody on in the first, runs down this ball, hit by Paul O'Neill. So you've got to fortify Martinez with good defense.
And it's Troy O'Leary leading off here in the second inning as Clemens misses outside. O'Leary started the season off 0 for 20, and Williams stuck with him. Bichette is not happy with it. In fact, before spring training was over with, Dante Bichette was told by Jimmy Williams that he was only going to be the designated hitter against left-handed pitching. He didn't like that. That'll be foul back and out of play.
A footnote to that story is that, to Bichette's credit, he came up to Jimmy Williams after spring training. He said, you know what? I don't think I worked as hard as I should have this spring, and you might be right. So he's working very, very hard here in Boston. But how many major league players will tell a manager that they didn't put as much into spring training as they should have? Well, it's a very self-effacing remark by Dante Bichette.
Well, Jimmy Williams, one of the skippers around with very few words for anybody other than his players, but he's very direct in what he says and doesn't elaborate on it. Chopper right side. Soriano throwing out O'Leary, 1 gone. Well, we talked about the great matchup, the great rivalry. Well, we got a chance to talk to Joe Torre. Here's what he had to say about it.
There aren't going to be enough tickets available for the people who want to see this game. You know, it's a heavyweight fight. A couple of years ago when we were in the championship series against the Red Sox and Pedro pitched against the Rocket, they had the back of one of the local newspapers had the tail of the tape, you know, measuring one fighter against the other. it didn't live up to it because Roger left in the second inning and we got murdered. But I have a sense the way Roger's been pitching here over the last year or so that this match is going to be, worth the price of admission.
Worth the price of admission if you can get a ticket. You don't need a ticket if you're watching Fox 5 because we're bringing it to you. And we're glad you're with us. Bobby Mercer along with Tim McCarver. And everybody knows that during the Oscar presentations, Gladiator was voted the best movie. I kind of look at this as being the Gladiator game of this series.
Two Russell Crowes facing one another.
2 balls and a strike to Veritek. One of the most focused players I've ever seen, Roger Clemens. Up high for a ball. A tireless worker. A great physical condition at the age of 38. Is on a mission despite all the things that he's already accomplished in his career, including those 5 Cy Youngs, including the American League all-time strikeout leader, but he wants 300 wins. Fox 5, the Toyota dealers are proud to present World Championship New York Baseball, now available on the SA2 channel of your television. Please don't miss it. And we're sorry for bringing that to you a little bit late today, but hope you'll forgive us. The first walk, second runner for Boston as Veritek is on. That'll bring up Shea Hillenbrand. Hillenbrand, one of the bright spots on this ball club. Rookie third baseman who won the job out of spring training. And we were told that would be the third catcher in case Jimmy Williams needed a emergency catcher. Because he came up as a catcher, played the infield, came up as a shortstop, and they made him a catcher. And he tore his ACL. Couldn't squat behind the plate that much, and so now he's playing third base in place of John Valentin, who's on the disabled list.
Talked about it last night. Hillenbrand, with including the 10 games this year, with only 93 games experience in 5 years as a pro at third base. He has had an error in more than 1/3 of the games that he started at third base. So that's something to look for this afternoon. He almost threw a ball away last night, but a fine play by Brian Daubach at first saved him an error.
Hillenbrand, Soriano, and Jimmy Rollins in the National League. The only 3 rookies to have started every game for their team.
And again, Bobby, we brought this up last night. Yankee pitchers and American League pitchers will take note. The wide strike zone to Hillenbrand. He'll swing at anything with 2 strikes.
On the ground left side. Play to Soriano back to first, not in time. That just took a little bit too long for the ball to get to Brocious, but they do get the lead run.
Talked to Willie Randolph this past week about Soriano at second base and about his footwork. You will rarely see Soriano come across the bag. Willie would rather see him straddle the bag and use his strong arm. As you saw there, he was throwing off the wrong foot, throwing off the front foot and going across, but that wasn't a double play ball anyway. But Soriano has looked good around second base, better at the plate, and nobody better to teach him the moves around second than Willie.
Still a work in progress at second. And a big swing and a miss from Brian Daubach. I think Soriano does some of those things because he has such a strong arm, and he relies on that arm so much at second base, not knowing that it's probably a lot easier, well, it is easier to make the footwork around the bag and not have to throw off balance.
He plays second base by swinging the bat. As Dick Allen used to say, how do you play first base? He said, swing the bat.
Swing the bat.
How do you play second, Alfonso? Swing the bat.
And his first 4-hit game of his career in Kansas City.
Great game last night.
Great game last night, and showed a lot of speed, a lot of good base running techniques. Outside for a ball to Daubach. Dahlbach, a career 1 for 14 hitter against Clemens. Raybeck waiting on deck. Dahlbach though has power, and he has power to all fields, so you gotta pitch him in his weaknesses. Clemens tried to get him bite on that foot-fingered fastball. He did not go around. Two of the pitchers in this new season, I think, that really benefit from the umpires looking at the high strike zone would be Roger Clemens and Pedro Martinez. There's a high, appeared to be a high strike.
Was it on the plate? Yep, looked like it was, and that was a high fastball above the belt.
Well, that's another thing, too, that outside corner pitch that umpires are taking a better look at, or more of a look at. Try to improve on that, and also the strike that's being brought up in the strike zone.
I've seen some changes, minor changes on the high strike, but not on the wide strike.
Off the end of the bat, and Jeter will take it himself. They force the runner at second. So Clemens and Martinez, we played 2 here at Fenway, and there's still no score.
Alfonso Soriano had such a nice game last night. His first major league at bat against Pedro Martinez. Good breaking ball, 0-1 to Soriano. We talked about it last inning. A work in progress, Bobby, around second.
A lot of second basemen would have just veered off to the right, and you saw Jeter and Soriano colliding there, so I'm sure they'll have a little bit of a conversation about that.
Good cut at a high fastball. Soriano in the hole, 0-2 to Alfonso.
But Soriano has done so well. I mean, he came up as a shortstop. Of course, there's no position there because of Derek Jeter. He's played third base. He's played second base. He's played the outfield. So he can do so many different things now for the Yankees. And the best thing that he does is swing the bat.
And run the bases. Swinging the bat at the curveball there. So good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Soriano.
Well, last night, Soriano was off. He was trying to steal third base in a very critical situation. Brocious hits the ball. He pulls Shea Hillenbrand out of position. With nobody out, and the Yankees took the lead 2-1 on that play by Soriano. Willie Randolph says that he thinks he can steal at least 40 bases. That's the kind of speed that he has.
Here's Scott Brocious. 4 strikeouts for Martinez. He has retired 7 Yankees in a row, and a strike to Brocious. Pensive excitement here at Fenway. Anticipatory excitement in Beantown. Outside, 1-1 to Brocious. Scott Brocious actually the best hitter against Pedro Martinez. And as a Yankee here at Fenway, he has flourished. 4 home runs and a .419 average. He had a home run his last time facing Martinez. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Scott Brocious.
Got also on a 10-game hitting streak right now. But you can see how Pedro can pull the trigger on you. Impeccable pitch. Just right on the outside corner.
Two and two.
You know, Tim, I was never a guest hitter, but I think really the only approach to hit Pedro and to be successful is probably to go up and guess.
Look for the fastball.
Well, you got to look for the fastball. There's no doubt about that. Lou Piniella kept telling me that he was a guest hitter most of the time.
5 strikeouts for Martinez. That's right, 5. 4 swinging, 1 call.
Looked like a high strike. And Pedro using that high strike again.
Our Toyota everyday fan enjoying every single moment so far. And why not? Two great pitchers, two great clubs going at one another head-to-head. Boston winning last night 3-2 in 10 innings. Clay Bellinger had a pitch to hit and fouls it back. 0-1 to Clay, starting in center field this afternoon.
This game would do well for the state of California. There's enough electricity in this game today to help out that California problem.
It's not free, however. 0-1 to Bellinger. 1-1. How about Jimmy Williams' line? He said if this was a night game, you wouldn't even have to turn the lights on. There'd be enough electricity in the ballpark generated by Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens.
You saw Joe Kerrigan. That's Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach, with Paxton Crawford in the performance that he put on last night. You know why Boston is really encouraged here early on, and especially with Nomar out. They don't expect to get Garcia-Parra back until maybe mid-May or so.
Pedro Martinez struck out the side 9 times last year. He had 22 times in which he struck out 3 batters in an inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bellinger. Now to play. It was Roger Clemens back in the mid-'80s who struck out 20 Seattle Mariners while walking no one that evening. That is a major league record. Clemens later duplicated that feat. And Kerry Woods of the Chicago Cubs a couple of years ago became the 3rd time that 20 were struck out during a game. Martinez has that type stuff today. He has struck out 5 of the 8 that he's faced. Still 1-2 to Bellinger. Did he go? Yes, he did. He strikes out the side. 6 strikeouts. He has retired 9 Yankees in a row. After 2.5 here at Fenway. No score. Craig Graybeck leads it off. Craig, the shortstop today. Obviously, Nomar Garciaparra is out until late June, perhaps early July. The Red Sox would consider it a bonus if he came back before the All-Star game. The All-Star game to be played in Seattle this year. Graybeck batting .059, 1 for 17 on the young season. Sharing that shortstop position with Mike Lansing, the starter at that position last night. And it's 0-1 to Graybeck.
Of course, Garcia-Parra out, and Jimmy Williams just trying to do the best he can each and every day until Nomar gets back. Nomar with a cast on his right hand after the surgery on the tendon to repair that tendon.
Tapped. Clemens on a good play. 1 out. Rogers' reach did not exceed his grasp on that particular play.
Absolutely not. In fact, pitchers can do so much just to help themselves out besides pitching. Defense, they're the 9th man on the field, and look how Clemens got up on that one. It's almost like he was going to do a backhanded dunk.
Working out with Andy Pettit during the offseason. I would imagine they practice moves like that. Here's Trot Nixon. 1 out here in the 3rd, no score. And a strike to Nixon. Nixon has given the Yankees the biggest scare. He flied deep to right center. The ball tracked down by Clay Bellinger in the 1st inning. Ground ball inside the line at first. O'Neill gets to it, but not before Nixon trots into second base with a double. The 2nd Red Sox hit and a potential go-ahead run at second base.
It appeared to be a split finger off-speed pitch. You can see that Nixon is a little bit out in front, and he just throws the hands as the ball hung up in the strike zone. It didn't go ahead and go on down, and that was the way he was able to get the bat barrel on the ball and pull it. If the ball is going down and continues to go down, he probably will either miss it or hit it on top of the baseball, ground out. are grounded on the ground weakly to the right side.
That's what Jose Offerman did his first at bat. There's one out. Nixon on at second base. Line drive, foul down the left field line. 0-1 to Offerman.
And you know why those things become so significant in this game is because when somebody does make a mistake, either a Pedro or a Roger Clemens, and somebody takes advantage of it, that probably will be the difference in the game.
Sure. They are that evenly matched. Particularly the way Clemens has been throwing so far this year. There's a high splitter for strike 2. 0-2 to Offerman.
Clemens just a dominant pitcher after finally getting himself 100% well from that groin injury. And what a pitcher he was the second half of the year 2000.
Yeah, I don't think you could make the comparison of Roger being on a standard of Martinez 2 years ago, his first year with the Yankees. Certainly not the first half of last season, but the second half, yes, sir. Strike 3 call. Offerman down on strikes. The first strikeout for Clemens. There are now 2 outs with Everett coming up.
And this is a split finger on the outside part of the plate, and Offerman looked like he was looking for something inside. Perfect pitch by Clemens.
Back to the game brought to you by Ford, the 7th matchup in which both starters have won at least 3 Cy Young Awards. Everett, high and away, ball 1. Clemens matched up with Greg Maddux last year. They had 9 Cy Young Awards between them. 4 for Maddux, 5 for Clemens. Pedro has 3 on the right. Roger has 5 on the left. High, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. On deck, Manny Ramirez, the hero of last night's game. Three balls and no strikes to Everett. You let him hit here?
I give him the hit sign, you bet. I think Everett will have a heck of a year if Manny Ramirez stays healthy and continues to swing the bat like he has over the last 4 or 5 years, because he's going to get some good pitches to hit.
Not swinging. Of course, that pitch was on the outside part of the plate. 3-1 to Everett.
When you do get the hit sign, 3-0, from a hitter's standpoint, you want to make sure it's exactly in the place that you're looking. You can see with the perfect pitch right on the outside part of the plate. If it's not there, don't swing at it. Because 3-0 is the same as 3-1.
Waves at a high fastball. Full count now to Everett. No score here in the bottom of the 3rd. Clemens against Martinez.
In this situation here, Everett can't look for anything particular. He just got to look to put the bat on the ball, because this could be a situation where Roger would throw any pitch.
Inside comes Clemens, and he misses. So Everett walks, and that will bring up Manny Ramirez with 2 on and 2 out here in the 3rd. It was Joe Torre who was instrumental in having Mike Mussina sign with the Yankees. It was Pedro Martinez who was instrumental in having Manny Ramirez sign with the Red Sox. 1 ball and no strikes to Ramirez.
Red Sox last year scored only 792 runs. That was 3rd lowest in the American League. They went out and paid a lot of money to bring an RBI machine to this ball club, and he has already paid off.
Ball 2 to Ramirez. 2-0. Posada now talking to Clemens.
It was a 2-ball, no strike count to Ramirez last night. And Manny got the base hit to win the ball game in extra innings.
Trot Nixon on at second base. Everett on at first base. Different situation last night, and that first base was open. Here you don't have that, of course. 2-0 to Ramirez. Outside, ball 3. So Carl Everett was hitting, and we're not sure that he was. We suspect that he was. Ramirez, I would imagine, certainly hitting in this ballpark.
I agree.
There's the strike on the outside. 3-1 now to Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez not only brings you home run power, opportunities, and clutch hitter with runners in scoring position, but he also hits for a high average. He hit over 350 last year and hits the ball to all fields.
Out of play. So Clemens challenging Ramirez. And now at the count 3-2, 2 outs. Runners will be off.
You like the pitch, Ramirez up in the strike zone. 3-1 pitch with a little bit up and a little bit in, and you could see that he was a little bit behind. Posada up, you can see how high it was, and that's the pitch that gives Manny more trouble than not. He's a dead low ball hitter.
That was also the pitch that he hit off Mariano Rivera last night, right in that spot. That was the pitch to hit right there.
That was just a challenge pitch.
Yep. Foul that one back. You could see Ramirez looking up saying, man, did I miss that baby.
Well, we talked about mistakes by pitchers. Pedro or Roger, that was right. So you got to give that plus to Clemens because he got away with it. From a hitter standpoint, when you get a pitch like that and you foul it back, you just want to kill yourself.
You
may not get another.
Ones,
you may not get another one.
Right. Broke his bat, I thought, but evidently he didn't. So the base runners retreat for the 3rd straight time.
Fastball geared up, and it's a little bit inside. You can see that Ramirez gets those hands out quickly as he reacts to that ball inside.
Like a mongoose on a cobra. Still 3-2 to Ramirez. No score here in the 3rd. Got him on strikes. The high fastball out of the strike zone gets Manny Ramirez with 2 on and 2 out. And the Red Sox are down here in the 3rd inning. No score after 3. 3 great innings have passed. And tonight, Elaine defends her preferences. George confronts a crime, and Jerry faces his worst fear. Watch Seinfeld tonight at 7:30, right here on Fox 5. Also on Fox 5 at 8 o'clock on Monday night, a show that premiered last fall is Boston Public. This is the weekend edition of Boston Public, with Martinez facing Clemens this afternoon as Knobloch leads it off. Ball 1 to Knobloch.
That and the Boston Marathon being run here on Monday morning. Big weekend in Boston with this holiday weekend, Easter weekend. Yankees, Red Sox in a big 4-game series. And I say that because anytime you get these two guys together playing, whether they're playing for a pennant or not, it's always a big series.
Fly ball that is foul down the right field line and back into the exuberant crowd here at Fenway. Boston Marathon will be run Monday morning, a rare, and I mean rare, 11 o'clock start between these two teams to be carried on MSG, and no, Rosie Ruiz will not be in attendance on Monday.
It's also a Patriots Day here, and I've never seen so many skinny people in Boston in my life.
Fly ball. That's foul, close to the pesky pole.
Everybody looks like a pencil walking around here.
Usually you see more well-fed people here in Boston because of the great restaurants, right?
No doubt.
It is a thin person's town this weekend.
You know, you talked about Pesky's Poe. Johnny Pesky came by to say hello to us last time. Boy, he looked like a movie star, didn't he? I mean, he was tan, looked great. Commented about the scooter.
1 and 2 to Knobloch. High, ball 2, 2 and 2 to Chuck.
He was saying that I want everybody to know I'm not as old as the scooter. So, Scooter, if you're listening into this game with us, you probably are. That's what Pesky had to say about it.
Another one foul back. By the way, I mentioned Rosie Ruiz. Rosie was the runner in 1980 at comically or otherwise, depending on your bent, was running in the Boston Marathon and decided to take the easy way out. It took a subway to the finish line. Well, you can't do that, Bobby. Breaking ball hammered into left center. The first Yankee base runner, and Knobloch's going to end up at second base. So a leadoff double here in the fourth. Knobloch gets to Martinez.
And it's almost like, well, you can't do that to Pedro. But Knobloch, with a leadoff double here, give him some credit for hitting that breaking ball, but give him additional credit for taking advantage. He knows that Everett, look at him. He's on the opposite side, has to throw the ball off balance, can't get a good throw in and a strong throw. And Knobloch, with his speed, will take advantage of that and end up at second.
You don't know what Derek Jeter's going to do, but you play the game differently against superstar pitchers. We've seen Jeter in situations like this late in the game bunt. We'll see if he does it against Martinez right here. Tap toward third. Hildebrand to first, and Knobloch after the throw, taking advantage of Hillenbrand's not looking in back. So a good base running play by Knobloch. He's at third with 1 out and expect the infield to come in.
You know, what do? You get caught between a rock and a hard place. You got the speed of Jeter you got to pay attention to. You know that Knobloch is over there, and you haven't played third base a lot. And so the Yankees take advantage of it. Knobloch with another heads-up play on the base pass, and it's just like a sacrifice because he ends up at third with less than 2 outs. Look at him. He knows exactly what he was doing. He saw Hildebrand out of position, nobody covering third, and he took advantage of it.
You could see Graybeck in the background knowing what Knobloch was going to do, but no throw. Infield in for the Red Sox. Here's O'Neill. Ground ball and Dahlbeck at first base. 2 outs. And for the second time, Paul O'Neill unusually fails to place the runner from third with less than 2 outs.
Yankees with a threat last night in the third inning. They did score a run, but with Paul O'Neill with men on base with less than 2 outs, failing to drive that run in. I mean, with a base hit there in that inning, the Yankees could have blown the game wide open. Wow, 1 run against Pedro Martinez is like having 5 against everybody else.
That's right. Here's Justice. David struck out his first at bat. No score here in the fourth. Change up and a beauty. 0-1 to Justice.
Well, David Justice, this is his birthday, so he needs a happy birthday hit here.
David, 35 this afternoon. Strike 2 to Justice. Our continental date in Yankees history. David Justice, born in Cincinnati, Ohio.
You won't get a present from Pedro, I can tell you that.
Nothing wrapped, that is. Just outside, 1-2 to Justice. Knobloch at third with 2 outs, a scoreless 4th inning. 2 hits for the Red Sox, but 1 for the Yankees. Veritek wants to make sure. A lot of pitchers don't shake off catchers. They'll stare them off. So Veritek, you could see, he's saying, let's wipe the slate clean. Martinez talking to Jason with the webbing over his mouth. The reason for that is some hitters are lip readers. Did you ever try to read lips?
Absolutely. I tried to do whatever I could do to take advantage of whatever. You accused me of peeking. I didn't do that. That was one thing I didn't do. But I'd certainly read your lips. You just never did move them.
Even when they were behind the mask?
I could.
That's a special talent. Oh, just misses low. 2-2 to Justice.
I mean, when Pedro misses, he just barely misses. Looked like Veritek was looking outside. You know, a lot of times the umpire will be looking where the catcher is setting up. If it throws inside, sometimes it catches them off guard, but that looked like it was a little bit low.
Did. 2-2 to Justice. Stays alive, reaching for the fastball. Still 2-2 to David.
That's that 2-seam fastball that Martinez throws, and he'll throw it. Started out on the outside part of the plate and continues to run away from the left-handed hitter.
That's the characteristic of that 2-seamer. It's better known. A lot of pitchers call it a tailing fastball. If they stay on top of it, it sinks. Posada on deck.
That's what happened to Posada last night from Mariano. He got the 2-seamer that was running away, and he was expecting a cutter inside. But he never got his glove up.
Change up, loop to right field, and in is Nixon to make the play. Nixon had broken back initially, but he recovers in time to retire Justice. As advertised, Easter weekend here at Fenway. No score, middle of the 4th. You're a Yankees fan. What if Knobloch gets hurt? What if Clay Bellinger gets hurt? Here's what Joe Torre had to say.
Oh, heck, we got a bunch of people that can play the outfield. You got Soriano, who was an outfielder in spring training, and he could go back out there. And you have Scott Brocious, who played just about every position on the field when he was with Oakland. He's played the outfield for us, and I think if I needed another center fielder, it would be him.
Our thanks to Joe on cue as Troy O'Leary swings at the slider. So there are the backups right there. Alfonso Soriano would move to left field in case Knobloch was hurt. And then Brocious would move to center in case Bellinger was hurt. And the Yankees very, very thin in center field with Bernie Williams visiting his ailing father and Michael Coleman on the shelf with a pulled hamstring.
Well, he also went a little bit further than that, said that Scott Brocious could go behind the plate, too. They said needed a catcher.
2 balls and a strike to Troy O'Leary. Scott is hopeful that particular situation does not.
That would be an extreme emergency.
Fly ball popped up. Jeter back, Knobloch in, looking at Jeter, and a precarious catch by Knobloch, 1 out here in the 4th.
Well, you say precarious, but we'll talk about that after this trivia. I want to hear about trivia.
All righty. Trivia quiz brought to you by Dodge. This is the 2nd game in Major League history in which both starters combined for at least 8 Cy Youngs. Who were the starters in the other? And I think I've already given away the answer. Sorry about that.
No, you didn't.
Here's Jason Veritek. I think I did last inning, but let's hope some fans were not hanging on our every word.
Well, I guess they know it then.
1 ball, no strikes to Jason Veritek. 1-1 to Jason.
I know I was hung on your every word.
Interesting way to put it. Shea Hillenbrand on deck, and a good splitter from Clemens. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Varitek.
Clemens has the fastball that he uses up in the strike zone, and that splitter goes down and away. Very effective pitch.
That looked like a hanging splitter, but it was off the plate away to get Varitek. 3 strikeouts now for Clemens.
Well, the splitter's always moving away and down most of the time from a left-handed hitter.
29,
and when you have 2 strikes on you, you try to protect the strike zone. And with these 2 guys here, you know that Clemens and Pedro most of the time are going to be around the strike zone. So you just got to be ready. You'll see a lot of guys swing at bad pitches that just because of these 2 guys here.
Shea Hillenbrand grounded to third his first at bat and takes probably the best fastball Clemens has thrown today. 0-1 to the young Hillenbrand. Poke to right field. So Hillenbrand, his first hit of the series, and again an example. He has not walked this year. He went through 33 consecutive games in AAA last year. Make that AA. Not walking, only walked 19 times. One of the reasons right here.
Well, another looked like a split finger. You can see how the ball is going down and away. Look where Hillenbrand is. He looked like he was totally off balance, but the only reason he was able to hit that ball, he kept his hands back.
Hit number 3 for the Red Sox. Here's Brian Daubach. Hillenbrand at first base. Scoreless game here in the 4th. 0-1 now to Daubach.
Rick Down and Daubach have done a lot of work in the spring. Rick Down, the new hitting instructor, replacing Jim Rice this year. Rick Down, of course, former New York Yankee hitting instructor, too. Talking about trying to keep it as simple as possible, and Daubach to take the attitude that when he goes to the plate, not to think about pulling everything, but take an all-the-field type hit attitude up there.
Tough thing to do, is it not, to keep a difficult thing simple?
You think hitting a round object with a round object coming in around 90 miles an hour is difficult?
Yes.
And it's not straight? All you have to do is get 7 hits every 10 times you go to, 3 hits every time you go to the plate 10 times.
Outside, 1-1 to Daubach. Well, golfers say you have to play your foul balls, but golfers also don't have 8 fielders if you hit one good. Golfers never bring that up, though. However, it's 1-1 to Daubach here in the 4th. Low, good play by Posada. 2 balls and a strike to Daubach.
Watch Posada get down. He knows the splitter is coming, and one of the things that Clemens has done with Posada, he has done nothing but praise him, and how he has called games, how he is not afraid to throw the split finger no matter what the situation is, because he has confidence in Posada being able to block that ball.
2 balls, 1 strike to Daubach. Had a pitch to hit, fouled it back, 2-2. Our Tri-State Ford out-of-town scoreboard. Kansas City and Toronto tied at 1 in the 5th inning. Detroit over Cleveland. Detroit still looking for their first win at Comerica Park. Tampa Bay over Baltimore in the 3rd. It's 2-2 to Brian Daubach. A scoreless game here in the 4th inning. Just misses outside. Boy, what a close pitch. So a full count to Daubach. Martinez will play behind the runner at first base, as Hillenbrand will be off.
Roger kind of jumped off the mound like he thought that was a strike. One of those tailing fastballs.
Home plate umpire Tim Tashida said no, it was not. So Hillenbrand will be off here. And this one misses way outside. And Clemens walks his second Red Sox of the afternoon. And here's Craig Graybeck, the shortstop, due up.
Roger with Graybeck coming up, I think wanted to make sure that the last two pitches were perfect pitches. Daubach could hurt you with the long ball. And once he got into that situation, I think he was trying to make Daubach hit his pitch or at least make a perfect pitch on him.
We talked last inning about Roger Clemens and his 2 games of 20 strikeouts. They were 10 years apart. Here in Boston on September 18th, 1996. Make that 1986. He struck out 20 Seattle Mariners. That was April 29th, 86. Then on September 18th of 96, he struck out 20 Detroit Tigers. More in a game, Kerry Woods equaled that feat a couple of years ago. I think Don Zimmer may be talking about the infielders perhaps playing just a step or two deep. And you can see Soriano at second base, Willie Randolph saying, pushing the infielders back just a tad to knock it down if they can't make a play.
Graybeck, the kind of hitter that pitching up in the strike zone, you would hope that he would swing at something like that, hit the ball in the air. He doesn't have a whole lot of power with the wind blowing in from left field.
Hillenbrand at second, Daubach at first. 1-1 to Graybeck. Tap towards short. Jeter on a tough hop, slips it to Soriano, and we talked about it earlier. Soriano's inexperienced at second base, and a big mistake by the Yankees right now. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Just trying to make up for what he did the time before. He didn't go to the bag. He thought Derek Jeter was going to make the play again just like he did earlier, and then Jeter this time flips it to him, and Soriano's late getting there. Just the opposite of what happened an inning before.
Nice going, partner, and you're exactly right. Soriano didn't want to bump into Derek Jeter again. He lays off the bag. Jeter this time tosses it to him, and Daubach, a slow runner, is safe.
You can see the frustration, I think, on Willie Randolph's face there, and no doubt that after that first play that Willie and Soriano talked about it, and well, let's see right there, that play right there looks like that maybe Soriano had his foot on the bag before Daubach got there.
I agree with that, but if I'm the second base umpire, Rich Riker, I call him safe too because of the way it appeared. Here's Trot Nixon, nemesis of Clemens. Strike 1 to Trot.
These are the kind of games that you don't give the team the 4th out. Every out, every pitch becomes so important with the dynamic pitching that you're going to get.
Looks like a backdoor slider, misses to Nixon. 1-1. Hillenbrand on at third base. Daubach hustling into second, and Graybeck at first. 2 outs, no score, bottom of the 4th. Good splitter. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Nixon. I think he may see that pitch again.
Clemens, the counter pitch for left-handed hitters is that splitter going down. Look how that thing just dropped out of the strike zone. He can throw another one like that. I'd be looking for it if I was Nixon.
Fastball, grounded foul, still 1-2.
I'm a little bit surprised at that pitch that Roger would have given him something inside that was so hittable.
I am too.
You know, if you're going to come inside, you got to come inside where he really can't get the good part of the bat on it. So that was a mistake by Roger and got away with it.
Hard pass, Brocious at third. 1 run scores. Knobloch drops it, 2-run score. And a costly error cost the Yankees at least 2. 2-0 Red Sox.
Well, it's big. Nemesis of Roger Clemens. You can see Nixon going the other way. He hit it hard and off the glove of Brocious. Knobloch comes up with it, but no chance to throw either runner out. So the Red Sox taking advantage of a huge break in this inning.
If I said error, it was not an error on Soriano, but anybody in the ballpark will tell you it was an error of omission.
Yeah.
Technically, it won't be an error tomorrow, but Soriano late in covering. Jeter late in tossing. I mean, you can, with Derek Jeter and Soriano, you could say Derek should have gone to first base on a ball like that. Because Daubach, left-handed hitter, Soriano's playing Daubach to pull in the hole. Soriano had a long way to run for it. So in my view, as much Jeter's fault as Soriano's, in fairness. 3 balls and no strikes now to Offerman.
Yeah, and on the other hand, with that too, he's so used to playing with Knobloch over at second. They got used to each other. It's just a matter of familiarity with Jeter and Soriano. So maybe he will remember that the next time too.
Mistakes are costly. It's cost the Yankees 2 runs so far, and now it's 3-1 to Offerman. We're in the 4th, 2-0 Red Sox. With all of that said, it did appear that Soriano beat the play at second base, but from an umpire's standpoint, it's almost understandable that because of the way it looked, that he would call Daubach safe. It's now 3-2 to Offerman.
Actually, the umpire, where he was positioned, he couldn't get a good look at it anyway because the runner was impeding his vision as Soriano's foot was trying to be put on the bag. But based on what you talked about, Soriano being late there, he just went ahead and called him safe. Anticipate that he beat it.
Runners are off, and Offerman down on strikes. 4 strikeouts for Roger Clemens. But Roger thinking, as far as he's concerned, this game should still be tied. Well, it's not. 2-0 Red Sox after 4.
Top of the 5th inning, and Jorge Posada leads it off for the Yankees. And what an uphill battle it will be now if Pedro Martinez stays to form. And no reason why he probably won't. So the Yankees will try to bounce back down by 2 runs. 6 strikeouts of the game for Martinez. Posada, a strikeout victim back in the 2nd inning, and the check swing was a swing after all, said third baseman Mark Carlson.
Yeah, Jorge went too far there. Sounded like he foul-tipped that ball, too.
You know, it's that riding fastball that you know that's going away from you and you can't hold up. Now Martinez comes back on the inside part of the plate, so he's worked him outside inside, and he's got no balls and 2 strikes on Posada. Costly mistake for the Yankees in the last inning. Resulted in 2 runs for Boston. And for a guy that had a minuscule earned run average last year, 2 runs is a lot for him. Just missing inside, ball 1, 1 and 2. Pedro Martinez has never had an earned run average in his professional career with the Red Sox above 3. Off the hands and out of play. His first year with Boston was back in 1998. Struck out 251. He struck out 313 in 99. And the off-speed pitch swung on and missed. Strikeout number 7.
Martinez got Posada with the curveball his first time up and gets Jorge with a diving curveball the second time up. That was a wicked curve.
Yeah.
Tino Martinez.
Your 12-6 variety.
Tino Martinez, who flied out his first, will step in with one gone. Red Sox, well, they got Pedro. They sent Carl Pavano and Tony Armas to the Expos back in 1997.
Pretty good deal for them.
A trade that the Red Sox will never forget. And immediately, the Red Sox, knowing and feeling what they had in that trade, they immediately signed him to a 6-year, $75 million deal. And compared to the prices today, what a steal that is.
Yeah, the Expos couldn't afford him.
Soriano waiting on deck. Soriano played a big part in the Yankees' try for a win last night, and so far in this game, Soriano has played a pretty good part. An off-speed pitch again, and Martinez out in front.
You said that Martinez was 5'11". I don't believe it. I know that's what it's listed in the media guide. I think he's more like 5'9", but unusually long fingers for a small man.
Did he hold up? Yes, he did, says Carlson.
Tino didn't go there.
No.
No.
Well, you talk about the fingers. Bill Maloney. He pitches batting practice. Hit hard and past Daubach into right field. Solid hit for Tino Martinez. The Yankees have a runner on.
Bobby, we're going to get back to those fingers, and it's a great story. Let's another story of Soriano. Remember when the third inning or the second inning ended? Jeter and Soriano collide. And as Bobby pointed out, for that reason, Soriano reluctantly holds back. And the play that kept the inning alive for the hit by Trot Nixon. And Luis Sojo is talking to Soriano along with Willie Randolph.
Soriano now at the plate. Runner on. And the breaking ball up high. Alfonso struck out his first time up in the third.
I'm still saying we're not beating this into the ground because it was obviously a very important play, but Derek Jeter equally at fault in that play because Soriano was playing Daubach to pull. Daubach, a left-handed hitter. He had to play him in the hole. And Derek talking to Sojo right there, and there's nobody more receptive to things like that than Derek Jeter. Derek's the first guy to say, hey, you know what? That was as much my fault as it was Soriano.
Off-speed pitch swung on a bit. Talking about Martinez's tips of his fingers as we take a look at our Ford scoreboard. Bill Maloney, who pitches batting practice, also charts the pitches here for Boston, said he has never seen a pitcher where the calluses are at the end of the fingers on Pedro like they are on Pedro. Most of the calluses on pitchers are on the inside part of the fingers, and you talked about how long those fingers are. With that in mind, that tells you that the ball stays on Pedro's fingers long enough, longer than most everybody else. It just kind of flows off the fingers, and the calluses wear towards the end of the fingers instead of towards the inside part. I know you did a story or a piece on
a couple of years ago, yeah,
how long those fingers were, and kind of like Bruce Sutter, you know, the guy that actually designed the split-fingered fastball. Bruce had the longest fingers I've ever seen in my life.
Abnormally long for a person his height, and that's the same way with Martinez. Unusually long fingers for a man of relatively short stature.
Well, hit into center field, but Everett is going to be there, so it's 2 gone for New York. Well, we talked about our Dodge trivia. question brought to you by Dodge. Here it is. Tim thought he gave it away, but I don't think so. This is the second game in Major League history in which both starters combined for at least 8 Cy Youngs. Who were the starters in the other? And the answer is Clemens and Maddox. So, if you weren't hanging on every word that we were saying up here, that would probably be a surprise to you. And Brocious steps in. Pitch is low and outside. Brocious also a strikeout victim. Pedro struck out the side in the third. You can't imagine our listeners not hanging on every word that we say. But I guess it happens. Well hit. Base hit by Scott Brocious. Talked about Brocious and his career average against Pedro with a base hit here. Now the Yankees with a couple of men on here in the fifth, and that'll bring up Clay Bellinger.
That was a hanging breaking ball right there. So Brocious continues to hit Martinez well. And Clay Bellinger will be the batter. We mentioned last night, before the Bellinger hit, his only hit of the year, where he liked the pitch. And most pitches. Some guys like it inside, outside. Bellinger's area right up here. High fastball.
Fastball outside corner, strike one. In the first inning, Bellinger had a good pitch to hit, and he found it back. Had a good swing at it. There's Tino down at second, and Brocious over at first. Austin leads it 2-0. That's full foul. Now Bellinger down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes.
Martinez threw that last pitch so hard that the power of the pitch almost spun him around on the mound.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Martinez reaching back to get Bellinger with a couple of men on, so the Yankees threaten here in the fifth. They come up with nothing. Red Sox still lead it 2-0.
What are you doing on my street?
Even though it's the best-selling sport utility vehicle in the world, not everybody is thrilled with Ford Explorer's legendary 4x4 off-road capabilities. A Ford Explorer 4-door and get 1.9 financing for 60 months or up to $2,000 cash back. Visit your Tri-State Quality Ford store today. I hate the street.
Wow, look at the stark realism of the soul crying out to be cleansed.
It's a sink.
Oh, I just love the juxtaposition of humanity versus industrialism.
Car bumpers? Where am I?
Amazing the way they wove in taste so harmoniously with value.
Now that I get.
The Mickey D's Dollar Menu. Lots of different choices for lots of different tastes.
Ground control requesting clearance to stadium.
Good to go, Bud 1. How's the view from the blimp?
Oh, it, just got a whole lot better.
Roger that.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Oh. Not so good.
Roger that.
Tomorrow, the war in Fenway heats up. Catch all the action as Derek, Bernie, and the rest of the Bombers take on Carl Everett and the Green Monster. It's the Yankees against the Red Sox. Don't miss it. Yankee baseball tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Fox 5.
Welcome back to Fenway. Bobby Mercer along with Tim McCarver. Second game of this 4-game series, and the Red Sox up 2-0 as they come to bat here in the fifth. It'll be Carl Everett, the third hitter, followed by Ramirez and then Troy O'Leary. Everett with a base hit and a walk in the game so far. And a split finger down low for strike one. I am surprised that so far Carl Everett, as close as he stands to home plate, and Roger using that inside pitch as one of his lethal weapons, he hasn't been up and in on Everett.
Yeah, I am too.
He's pitching mostly down and away.
That's a valid point. Everett singled on that splitter away from him his first time up, and then he walked his second time up. But in no time has Roger come inside this afternoon.
That's outside. Everett, borderline being out of the batter's box where he stands.
Of course, when he strides, he's in the batter's box. You have to make contact when you're out of the batter's box with the ball to be called out. But when Carl does stride from the left side at least, he's in the batter's box. But when he starts out, he's not even close, about 3 inches from home plate.
Carl Everett, no love lost for the Yankees. Started his career in this organization. Strike two. Yankees lost him in expansion draft. Has never forgotten it. Nothing he would like more to do than to knock the Yankees off of this pedestal that they're on. Up high and a leadoff walk. Well, there's only one way to stop a thief on the run. That's the hard way. Watch an all-new Cop tonight. That's at 8 o'clock right here on Fox 5. A lot of respect for the men in blue. They have a tough job, and they do it very well. Lots of sunshine here at Fenway. One man on, and this is Manny Ramirez. One thing the Red Sox don't do, and that is run. Only one stolen base for the Red Sox, and Carl Everett has the only stolen base, so they're not a running team, obviously. I wouldn't suspect that Everett would be taking off with Ramirez up there. Strike one to Ramirez.
Only attempted 2 stolen bases this year. Everett's 1 stolen base, 1 caught stealing. Mentioned the men in blue here in Boston. They do a superb job, and they had to reach the pinnacle of their profession a couple of years ago during the playoffs when the fans were throwing things onto the field after that call.
Chopper, Brocious, Soriano for one, and back to Martinez as they complete the double play. Pretty good play by Soriano at second. Everett was in on him pretty hard.
Well, that's what we were saying with Willie Randolph. Don't come across the bag, but use the bag for protection, and Soriano does it here. Everett actually going on the inside of the bag. Everett is a tough slider and takes out second baseman with regularity here in the American League. But it was nicely turned by Soriano.
O'Leary with his call strike on the outside corner. Good to always have a strong arm when you got to play like that.
Yeah, you got that right. Well, usually if you're good enough to play the left side of the infield, you have a strong arm to begin with. So a shortstop or a third baseman's arm playing at second base is always going to allow a second baseman the luxury of maybe not having the real good footwork, and Soriano certainly doesn't have that yet.
People in baseball are going to know that name, Soriano. He can hit, and he will get better. Slow roller, Clemens. He will pick it up and then make the tag and tag the base at the same time. That's almost like a double play. And everybody seems to be all right, I guess. Clemens, I don't know if he's all right or not. He tags the runner and the base at the same time. I hope he didn't jam that knee or the ankle on the base.
Yeah, that's what you have to be concerned with right there.
We'll be back. Knobloch leading off here in the 6th for the Yankees. And back up the middle base hit. And the Yankees threatened in the 5th, and they've got it started here in the 6th again.
Bobby, the last inning we were talking about the police here in Boston and the job they did a couple of years ago. This was the play that caused it. Game 4, 99 ALCS. Knobloch made a swipe at Offerman at second base. They called him out, but clearly that was not the case. And that was after game one. Offerman involved in another play. Chuck Knobloch tried to hurry a double play ball. He dropped it at second base in the 10th inning of game one. They called him out. So 2 calls went against Boston during that ALCS. Matter of fact, Tim Tashida was the second base umpire who made that call, and they have not forgotten it here in Boston.
Jeter swings and misses. Tashida is behind home plate today.
Yep.
Calling balls and strikes. Jeter 0 for 2. Yankees trying to put up at least 2 to tie. Boston leading it 2-0. Martinez now out in front, 0-2.
Derek Jeter, a very good 2-strike hitter, but you can see the Boston outfielders are shifted toward the right field line. Jeter with more of a propensity to go to right field with 2 strikes than up to 2 strikes.
And I think Derek's strengths offensively is towards the opposite field. Pedro Martinez does not really have a good move with runners on at first base, and I suspect the reason for that is he doesn't have to really pay attention to too many runners.
He doesn't have a chance to have to prove that too often.
He doesn't have to
many
prove
guys
it
get
at
on.
all. So I guess the time is right. You know, you could take advantage of that, but with the Yankees being down 2-0, I would doubt very seriously if Knobloch is thinking that way. And that puts it outside. As this game progresses, the shadows from the top of the stadium now beginning to creep in around the home plate area. You can see that flag blowing. You can imagine what that would be like if it is a distraction as it gets out between the batter and the pitcher. Into right field. So no problem for Nixon. One gone. New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5 is brought to you in part by your local Toyota dealer. And by Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. And by General Motors. Paul O'Neill looking for a crisp, clean base hit with 1 man out. O'Neill 0 for 2, flying out and grounded out, so he would like to get his first hit. Good off-speed pitch. That changeup.
Normally a pitcher would be reluctant to throw this pitch with a runner on at first because the changeup is the easiest pitch to pull. And when you're talking about Martinez, he will do anything at any time. The most unpredictable pitcher in the major leagues.
From a hitter's standpoint, you always look for different release points or different slow-ups in the motion to try to tip off a pitch, but no go with Pedro. Now he comes inside. Paul failing to drive in a run at third in his last at-bat with only 1 out. Knobloch had made it all the way around to third after leading off with a double in that inning. Moving up on a ground ball by Jeter. Good play. Fastball outside corner, strike 2, 1 and 2. Guys like Maddox, Pedro Martinez, guys that are always around home plate and throws lots of strikes, keeps the umpire on his toes. I mean, he's ready because he knows that when he goes into this game, his game plan knows that the pitchers are going to be around home plate most of the time, so they're ready.
Everybody's game picks up except the offense, the team against whom he is pitching. Usually, umpires umpire a better game. The defense plays a better game behind him because he works fast. He's always around the plate, never beats himself. Consequently, his defense rarely beat themselves. They rise to another level, just like Martinez.
Just missing outside. Of course, the Red Sox, they added Manny Ramirez in their offense. Take another look at this. That tailing two-seam fastball that just barely missed. Jimmy Williams trying to find somebody to back up Pedro. They've got Paxton Crawford, the rookie right-hander, and he has certainly been impressive a couple of times out. There goes Knobloch, pitch way inside. Veritek's throw is in time. Veritek, who only threw out 25% of the runners last year, nails Knobloch, and there's 2 gone.
This is a terrific throw by Veritek on a very, very difficult pitch to handle. He has to reach across his body, throw over O'Neill. He does both very quickly to get Knobloch. Fine, fine throw by Jason Veritek.
Knobloch with 4 stolen bases before he was caught that time. So that's the first time he's been caught this year. And the off-speed pitch, no, he did not go around. Veritek wanted that call. And a 2-out walk to O'Neill. That'll bring up David Justice.
So far, a costly play with Knobloch being thrown out at second base. Can't really call something like that a mistake, however. The Soriano Jeter play around second, obviously a mistake, but base running in that situation for a guy who can steal bases, not a mistake.
Liner into left field, but it curves foul. Well, I think the Yankees feel that 2 runs down, that's a lot of runs against Pedro. Whatever you can do to generate something.
Right.
You got to try to do against him because he's just such a master at pitching and not giving up runs. Take a look at his earned run average. You're not going to get many off of him.
Earned run average in 2 games, .60 coming in. It's better now.
Inside for a ball. Now it's 1-1.
Pedro Martinez, so far this year, has worked 21, make that 20 in 2/3 innings. And with the 8 strikeouts today, that gives him 30 on the year. 30 in 20 innings.
Ball 2. Well, if you're not totally exhausted after last night's 10-inning win by the Red Sox and in today's matchup with Clemens and Martinez, join us tomorrow afternoon because we're going to have Andy Pettit in no-mo pitching for the Red Sox. Well hit into deep center field. Everett shading his eyes with the sun, and I mean that ball was out of here, and the wind kept it in this ballpark. The wind was definitely a factor for David Justice there.
No question about that. Everett shading the eyes and making the catch.
No call for the Yankees. Still, Boston leads it 2-0. Well, this is Fox Saturday, and he was armed and dangerous in only 17. This is attempted cop killer, has been on the run for years. Watch an all-new America's Most Wanted. That's tonight at 9 o'clock right here on Fox 5. Got some armed and dangerous guys on the mound today. And right now the Yankees are behind 2-0. Jason Veritek leads it off here in the bottom of the 6th. Veritek, a strikeout victim in the 4th.
Nice to see Roger back out there and showing no ill effects from sliding into first base to record the last out in the 5th inning.
Back up the middle base hit for Veritek. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproductions, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and WNYW Fox 5 is prohibited. So the Sox with their leadoff hitter on. That'll bring up Shea Hillenbrand, who had a nice base hit into right field his last time up. Hillenbrand started the season with a 9-game hitting streak. Took an 0 for last time. Squaring the bunt and pops it up, and there's Tino Martinez. Nice play, Tino. And the runner holds at first.
Not a bad play by Jimmy Williams, thinking bunt right here. You have Dahlbeck, the left-handed hitter. Trot Nixon in the hold. Raybeck sandwiched in between them. But Hillenbrand gets under the fastball. Whenever the barrel of the bat is under the ball, it's got to go up. Tino Martinez, who has been up for the Yankees for 6 years, makes a fine play to record Hillenbrand.
Shea shoved the bat at the ball, didn't let the ball come to him.
One of the best explanations of bunting that I have ever heard is when you're bunting, you catch the ball with the bat.
Now Dahlbeck swings and fouls the pitch back and out play.
That very description, Bobby, is exactly the opposite of what Hillenbrand did, as you explained it. You don't jab at the ball, but you give with the ball, and that deadens the ball. A lot of youngsters coming up from the minor leagues now that don't know how to bunt.
Well, I mean, bunting's a lost art in baseball, and it's always a huge fundamental. Heck, you don't even hear about it anymore.
Sacrifices are
big deal, especially in the American League. Look at those shadows now beginning to creep up around the home plate area. Matty Alou, I think, was the best bunter I ever saw.
Certainly among the best I have ever seen. Brett Butler.
Ball gets away from Posada. Veritek moves to second, so it's like a sacrifice. That ball, we'll see what they call it. I think that was in the dirt.
That's one way to look at it, but had Hillenbrand bunted him to second, perhaps Veritek would have been on third base. That's a ball that's normally handled by Posada, but it is being scored a wild pitch. Most of the time when a ball's in the dirt, it'll be a wild pitch.
And we talked about earlier that Rogers says he doesn't mind throwing that pitch to Posada because he feels like that Posada blocks it well and does a good job with it. So you don't have to be afraid of throwing it at any time. Not that time, though, as the runner moves to second. And that pitch up high.
This is the only inning that either pitcher has been out of sync. There's something messed up about the delivery of Roger Clemens. He was very uncomfortable to Veritek. And now 3-1 to Brian Dahlbeck.
Big swing. A high pitch. It looked like it was out in the strike zone.
Yeah, Dahlbeck really helped Clemens out swinging at this fastball. Way out of the strike zone. Sometimes you just can't pinpoint why a pitcher is out of sync, but he just looks differently. And Clemens looks different this inning.
Well hit down the right field line, and it just curves foul. The pesky Poe on the other side of that ball. Dahlbeck with 4 home runs. Dangerous hitter.
Only 9 hits on the season, 4 of those home runs. Hammers this one, but foul. I don't think Roger will be throwing another fastball to Dahlbeck.
If you do, don't throw it inside where you can hit it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. First base is open. Rayback waiting on deck. Runner at second. He went away and struck him out. Another pitch, it looked like it was out of the strike zone, and Dahlbeck is gone.
Now, often it's not the pitcher that gets you out. We have found the enemy, and he is me.
Boy, I hate that.
I mean, you know, we did it when we hit, Bobby.
Oh.
You go up there and you just have a futile at bat. You just get yourself out and you want to bang that bat against your helmet.
That's the reason I laughed, because, you know, I had all these flashbacks of myself.
Oh, sure.
I know exactly what he was
Sure.
thinking.
Absolutely. It's infuriating.
And especially in a game such as the one we have here with Martinez and Clemens, and when you do get that opportunity and you don't succeed with it, you know you're in trouble. Down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes, the 2 men out. Talked about good to see Roger back out on the mound after that unassisted play back in the 5th. Appeared that maybe he had hurt his knee or his ankle or whatever, but a guy that wouldn't really complain about a whole lot. In fact, before the Yankees finally decided they were going to shut him down and make sure that they got him 100% well with that groin injury last year, which was the smartest thing they've ever done. He won't tell you that he's hurt. That'll be out of play. Play we were talking about, the end the 5th inning, an unassisted play as he tags the bag and the runner at the same time. You can see that right knee, how it jammed up against the bag. And he somewhat limped off the field, but strong guy. That was about a 40-footer.
You can see the spot in front of the plate. About a 55-foot splitter right there. There is a black mark about 5 feet in front of the plate, and there it is right there where that ball hit. There you can see that black mark about 5 feet in front of the plate.
Roches at third to throw out Graybeck. The leadoff base hit by Veritek goes by the wayside. 6 innings on the board here at Fenway, and the Yankees are behind by 2. Top of the 7th here at Fenway. The Red Sox lead it over the Yankees, as the Yankees in this rivalry, they take it back to New York. Red Sox coming to town Friday, April the 20th. 21st and 22nd on the 21st, that's Saturday, be a part of the magical summer of 1961. All fans will receive a 61 cap, courtesy of HBO Film, celebrating the HBO movie 61. And on Sunday the 22nd, all fans 14 and under receive a Hip Hippo, sponsored by Hip Health Plans. First pitch to Posada, hit hard and past Daubach down the right field line. Posada on his way to second. Nixon throw is not in time. Leadoff double by Posada, and once again the Yankees have their leadoff man on.
Knobloch doubled in the 4th to lead off the inning, and now Posada taking a calculated risk, rounding first, deciding to go to second. A great play by Trot Nixon, who barehands the ball in right field and throws it in the same motion to just miss Posada at second base.
You could see Posada's reaction when he saw Nixon pick that ball up cleanly, and he knew he was going to have to get down there in a hurry. And Tino will try to do something, but Posada down at second. Tito 1 for 2, base hit to right field his last time up. The Yankees with 5 hits now, and the Red Sox with 5. The Red Sox have 2 runs. Inside corner, strike 1. Now it's 1-1.
Veritek out to talk to Martinez. That could have been a cross-up right there, because the shortstop, Craig Graybeck, is coming in now saying, what happened there? Pedro, obviously a master of his own fate. You don't want to pitch, he'll shake it off, but it appeared to be a cross-up there.
Mike Stanton now beginning to warm up for the Yankees. Clemens, after leaving the last inning with 111 pitches. Off the end of the bat, over Offerman's head, into right field. Posada will be held at third. Posada had to hold up a moment or two to make sure Offerman couldn't catch that ball. So now the Yankees, 2 men on, nobody out.
You know what they're yelling in the Yankee dugout now? He hit it like you threw it. A changeup hit off the end of the bat by Tino Martinez. That's one of the age-old expressions, dugout expressions. If you hit a flare off the end of the bat on a breaking ball, he hit it like you threw it. And Tino did. The Yankees with their best opportunity of the day right here with a hot hitter up.
And a guy that can redeem himself. Soriano has been involved in a play at second base that's turned out to be so far the difference in this game, along with Derek Jeter. So Soriano up there with 2 men on, nobody out. And the breaking ball way high and inside.
Breaking ball that got away from Martinez. You as a hitter see the spin on that ball. You dive outside and it stays inside.
Well, Soriano's first 2 trips up against Pedro Martinez in his career. First time up, he struck out, and then he flied out to center field. Second time the Yankees have had a runner at third base with less than 2 outs. Failed to score the first one. Broken bat. I mean, just sawed him off at the handle.
That looked like a breaking ball away. And of course, there are myriad ways to break bats. You need to break it off the end of the bat or off the handle. This one, however, yep, off the end of the bat. I think more bats are broken by balls hit off the end of the bat than off the handle, particularly early in the season when players, we talked about it over the last week, players coming from spring training, all that hot weather down there. You reach the Northeast and it's brisk and chilly. You feel like Superman, and you really have to tell yourself to stay back, stay back, stay back.
Well, activity now in that Red Sox pen. That's the left-hander Schurik, and then Rod Beck, the righty. On the ground hard to Hillenbrand. They'll go for the double play, and they will not get it. Posada comes on to score. It's a 2-1 game, and Soriano picked them up and laid them down and beat that double play out.
How in the world did he beat that play at first base? I mean, this ball was scalded toward third. Hillenbrand cleanly feels it, but that one pat, Offerman arriving at second, perhaps too late, allows Soriano to get to second. Watch right there, the pat. That one pat in the glove allows Soriano to beat the play. You got to get rid of the ball quickly to get the speedy Soriano.
All right, now we got, as you take another look at it, we got speed on at first base, Soriano. We got Brocious, who hits Pedro very well. And a swing and a miss. Remember, back on September the 9th, Scott Brocious. And a 3-run shot he hit off of Pedro. Boom. That came in the second inning. And 3-1 in the 7th inning of that September 9th game. And Pedro trying to keep Soriano close at first, knowing that he's got pretty good speed.
That was close, that last one.
Brocious came into this game batting .421. He's 1 for 2 so far. Fast start for Scott Brocious.
Time was called, so had that ball been overthrown, it would not have counted. It looked like Dahlbeck could have stepped on the right arm of Soriano.
Either that or the ball hit him in the right elbow. Boy, oh boy, that's not a good sign there.
You know, one of the two, I think it did hit him. But had that ball been thrown wildly. Time was called. Yep, did hit him.
He caught a piece of the leather and the elbow at the same time.
Yeah.
He's all right. We're ready to go. Fastball blown by Brocious. And Pedro out in front, no balls and 2 strikes. Soriano acts like he wants to go at first. Getting a big lead.
Not a good time, 0-2. 1-2 maybe, 0-2 no.
Foul back and out of play. Soriano not going on that pitch.
Yeah, the reason 0-2 is a tough pitch to run on, generally speaking, is that the defense has a chance to pitch out. You can afford to waste a pitch up and away. Now, if a pitcher throws pitches that are often in the dirt, that's a different story. But Martinez doesn't do that very often.
There he goes, and the pitch is fouled back and out of play.
Notice how Martinez was holding the ball, holding the ball, holding the ball. That's often the best way to prevent a runner at first base from getting a good jump. Watch him hold it, hold it, hold it, and it's not a good jump by Soriano.
Veritek has already thrown out 1 base stealer today. And Brocious trying to hang tough, down in the count, though 0-2. And a big lead by Soriano. I think that's kind of what you have to do as a hitter. You know, Brocious stepping back away.
Sure.
And trying
you
to break
protect
up
the runner that way.
Protecting the runner, but you're also throwing Pedro Martinez off a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And that momentum that he has going. There goes Soriano again. The pitch is swung on, strike 3, and the throw not in time. And Soriano with a stolen base, his 3rd of the year. And the Yankees tying run now down at second.
The Yankees could very well be out of the inning were it not for the speed of Alfonso Soriano. He beats the throw at first base, and now he steals second base. Make that his 3rd steal of the year. See him peek back to see if the ball is put into play. So Soriano representing the tying run if they can push him across.
You know what? Graybeck's foot got in the way, and I'm not sure Soriano had his hand on the bag. He had more of Graybeck's foot than he did the bag.
Luis Sojo is going to be the pinch hitter for Clay Bellinger, and it's going to be interesting to see the defense for the Yankees in the bottom of the 7th inning. I mean, the Yankees do not have a certifiable center fielder, and we talked about it earlier. The guys in the truck showing that Scott Brocious could be the center fielder, so you may see Sojo go to 3rd and Brocious to center.
Or Soriano going to the outfield and Sojo going to 2nd.
I think they would probably put Brocious there because you don't mess up 3 positions. No, we'll see.
Soriano played outfield in spring training. So Sojo has come up big for the Yankees in these types of situations. Ball 1 to Luis, and of course when Jeter was on the disabled list, he was the everyday shortstop. And the off-speed pitch swung on and missed.
Looked like a breaking ball or a changeup. Couldn't tell. At least I couldn't. What you think it was? Changeup?
Like a changeup to me. Just got to go by the way the hitter reacts to it. And there's the fastball. We know what that was.
It's always good to follow a fastball after a changeup because of the disparity in speeds. Changeup about 78, fastball about 95.
Martinez with 9 strikeouts in the game. Boston 2, the Yankees 1, tying run down at 2nd for New York. There goes Soriano off with the pitch. He was headed towards third, but Soho fouls it out of play.
Have to make more sure trying to steal third base with 2 outs than you do at any other time. But Soriano clearly would have had third base stolen had that pitch been a ball.
Remember last night when he took off for third, he caught a couple of guys out of defensive position, and Brochus got a base hit that way. You're right. You better make sure you make it with 2 outs. He's not going anywhere this time, but he's got Pedro's attention. If Pedro Martinez gets 10 strikeouts, it'll be the 71st career 10 strikeout game for him, and 44th as a Red Sox
at age 29.
Unbelievable. And they make sure here at Fenway you don't miss it. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Soho. Outside, ball 2. Shadows creeping in towards home, but not really a factor yet. And the throwback trying to catch Soriano off guard. At least he's got the whole Boston Red Sox infield and pitcher thinking about Soriano at second.
Get a shortstop leaning towards second base. That could open up a hole on the left side if Soho trickles one through on the left side of the infield.
Good point. Soho stays alive. Somehow got some wood on that baseball.
Pitch looks to be about 3 inches outside and was. Soho making contact to at least stay alive.
Soho was reaching as far as he could reach. Another one foul, backing out of play. No matter what happens here, Soho is going to make Pedro work for it. Last time, Soho's only had a couple of at-bats versus Pedro. He's 0 for 2. Tying run down at second, 2 men out here in the top of the 7th. Soriano off, and the pitch is low and outside. Ball 3 as Soriano takes third.
Uncontested.
It will be called a stolen base.
Oh, you got to give him one, even though Hillenbrand didn't leave his position. Hillenbrand, realizing last night he left his position, it opened it up for Brochus.
2 stolen bases down for Soriano in this inning. Outside, the ball gets away from Baratek, and Soriano, with his speed on the base pass, ties it up here in the 7th.
How about that? The first wild pitch of the year is a run producer for the Yankees. Alfonso Soriano is the difference in this game being tied and this game being 2-1. Baratek can't come up with it. Soho walks. But more importantly, because Soriano beat the play to first base, because Soriano stole second base, and because Soriano stole third base, he's able to walk home after the wild pitch to tie the game. Unbelievable.
Knobloch fouls it off to the right side, and because the Red Sox didn't pay any attention to Soriano going to third, they end up paying for it because of the wild pitch.
Hey, you just going on the odds, however. I mean, I don't think anybody, under the circumstances, would have paid any attention to Soriano.
Inside for a ball. Now it's 1-1.
Because what are the chances of Martinez throwing a wild pitch? He's almost never in the dirt with pitches.
Yeah.
He had one wild pitch last year. One.
Off-speed pitch down low as Knobloch checks his swing.
217 innings last year, one wild pitch.
How about that?
This year, one wild pitch, but a key one today.
Yeah, the 3-2 pitch to Soho, pinch hitting the 9th place hitter for Bellinger. Well, we said it was going to be a nail-biter, and it was going to be interesting and fun, and so far it has been every bit of that.
Hey, if these two games were restaurants, they'd get 4 stars, wouldn't they?
They certainly would.
On the Michelin Guide. Man, these have been delicious baseball games.
And not to forget tomorrow's afternoon game. Looper out into right field. Nixon puts it away, and the Yankees come back strong here in the 7th. They put up 2. Soriano doing his duty, and we are all tied.
Added performance. Added room. Added fuel efficiency. Added style. Added power.
Over the 7th, we're all tied. I remember early in the game, my partner was talking about what if. We talked to Joe Torre. What if this situation happened? Here's what happened.
Oh, heck, we got a bunch of people that can play the outfield. You got Soriano, who was an outfielder in spring training, and he could go back out there. And you have Scott Brocious, who played just about every position on the field when he was with Oakland. He's played the outfield for us, and I think if I needed another center fielder, it would be him.
Well,
there's Scott Brocious playing center field for the Yankees.
Man.
And Soho will go to 3rd. And Mike Stanton will come in to pitch starting here in the 7th. That's all because of Bernie being with his ailing father in Puerto Rico. And then last night, Michael Coleman pulled up lame with a right hamstring problem, so he's unable to play. Joe pinch hitting for Bellinger. And so Soho goes to 3rd. Brocious out into the outfield. I can't remember Brocious playing the outfield. We're checking on that. We understand he did with Oakland, but I don't know if Scott has played the outfield for the Yankees.
Well, in Joe's soundbite, he said that, well, he's played the outfield for us. When talking about Brocious, he said he's played the outfield for us. Now, maybe Joe was talking about
spring training,
maybe against us or spring training or whatever, but we're checking on that right now. But nonetheless, Brocious in the outfield, checking things out. Think about the things he's got to worry about now with the wind, the sun, and all the elements here at Fenway.
Think about this, too. We've got the 2nd baseman and the 3rd baseman playing left field and center field. Well, used to be. Popped up towards Soho. And foul territory, so Nixon is gone.
The 2nd baseman and the 3rd baseman on a team that has won the World Championship for the last 4 years, for the last 5 years in the outfield today. Man,
but depending on the batter, Tim, they'll still be on the left side of the field.
Well, think about the season now. Soriano, he's a shortstop. He's at 2nd. Soho played shortstop to begin the season. He's at 3rd. The 3rd baseman, Brocious, who started at 3rd, is in center. Knobloch, who didn't start at 2nd, but has been a Gold Glover at 2nd and left. This could be another Abbott and Costello routine.
Who's in center field? Well, it is interesting. There's no doubt about that. Chuck, of course, playing left field now. And there you have it. Offerman turns around and bats right-handed against Stanton. That's a full foul. 2 balls, no balls and 2 strikes, that is. They're all tied up at 2 here in the 7th inning. Very interesting, but I guess one thing you can say about New York is that they are a versatile ball club.
Oh, absolutely. Resourceful.
Yeah.
Gritty. Coming back against the way Martinez was throwing this afternoon.
Popped Popped him up right side. Sunshine now playing a factor. As you can see, Tino shading those eyes. 2 gone.
Bobby, it's a routine game at times, and speed such an important part. And to reiterate, Soriano's trip around the bases. Fielder's choice, beating a play that few runners in the American League would beat at third base. A 5-4-3 attempted double play, then the steal of second, steal of third uncontested, and scoring on the wild pitch.
It's almost like the young man was saying, you know, I need to do something to make up for what happened earlier. He certainly has done that. And Carl Everett now stepping in, one of the 3 switch hitters, and he will bat right-handed. Breaking ball from Stanton's swung on and missed.
Bobby, we talked about it earlier about Carl Everett. When he puts his right foot close to the plate as a left-handed batter, he strides and stays in the box. As a right-handed batter, and this was where he was when Ronald Kulpa, the home plate umpire, called him out. He was suspended for bumping him last year. His right foot's out of the box right now, and technically, if he puts a ball in play, you have to be away from the plate by 6 inches from the inside corner of the plate. If you put the ball in play, you should be out because you're out of the batter's box.
Well, right now, there's no batter's box there. High fly ball left field. Will the wind keep it in? No, it's in the stands.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah, I know
though?
what you're saying.
If Posada were to contest that with Everett, and few catchers do that if a guy's consistent. If he, for instance, calls the umpire's attention to that, I mean, they could technically call Everett out for being out of the batter's box while making contact with a fair ball. I was a catcher once when Henry Aaron hit a home run and was called out for being out of the batter's box. Otherwise, he'd had 756.
Well hit into center field. Scott Brocious, his first play. Perfect. No problem. Went back. Glasses down. 1-2-3 inning for Mike Stanton and the Yankees. Top of the 8th coming up. We are all tied at 2. Yes, that's Brocious in center field.
Introducing the all-new, completely restyled 2001 Hyundai Elantra.
Freedom is calling, yeah. The warranty's the best in America. You feel secure and you know you have someone to rely on.
The Elantra comes with the freedom of the Hyundai Advantage, America's best warranty plan, with standard features including air conditioning. All this plus automatic for just $12,799. It all adds up to a great value.
Freedom is calling, here I am.
Hyundai and the Jimmy Fund, helping kids fight cancer.
The New York Lotto jackpot is now $12 million. Most people don't realize just how much that is. $12 million. Well, let me tell you, it's a ton of money.
The New York Lotto jackpot is now $12 million. Play today. Drew and Mimi, don't touch the troll.
That was your mom used to say to your dates?
Together, they're bigger than anything.
For 800 pounds of trouble.
On the Drew Carey Show. Drew it 5 days a week.
Monday at 6:30 p.m. on Fox 5.
Let's take a look at the Hyundai 8th inning recap. Pitching, marquee matchup. Soriano late in covering. Leaves it open for Trot Nixon. Red Sox 2-0. The score 2-1. 2-1. Soriano coming around the bases in unusual fashion to tie it, and that's where we are here in the 8th inning. Both starters are out of the game now. Stanton relieving Clemens in the bottom of the 7th. Pedro Martinez with 9 Ks, and Rob Beck, who pitched in last night's ball game, is in there for the Red Sox. So now, as it will be for a good part of the season, it will be a battle of the bullpens. And we talked about it last night. Who has the better bullpen, the Yankees or the Red Sox? Well, last night proved the Red Sox did. We'll see today as Jeter grounds one up the middle, base hit. So Derek Jeter leads off the 8th inning with a hit up the middle. Derek's first hit of the day, and that'll bring up Paul O'Neill. And if you're thinking sacrifice, forget it. Paul O'Neill's last sacrifice, 1993.
You know, 4 out of the last 5 innings, Tim, the Yankees have gotten their leadoff batter on. And immediately, Jimmy Williams out to the mound.
You're going to see Pete Schurik right now because the Yankees have 2 left-handed hitters coming up. Pete Schurik is warm and ready for the Red Sox, and here comes the former Met into the ball game. We have a dandy here at Fenway, tied at 2, 8th inning.
Introducing the 2001 Hyundai Accent. It comes with the freedom of the Hyundai Advantage, America's best warranty plan.
I don't have to worry about my car because I'm covered under the 10-year warranty.
And the Accent has the standard features you want. At just $8,499, this is one new car that's very easy to drive home. Get the 2001 Accent for just $8,499 at your Hyundai dealer today.
No. I said sell it. Call them up and ask them to give it all back.
In this point-and-click, risk-it-all-on-a.com world,
What's wrong with this?
it's nice to know at least one thing doesn't go up and down. Wendy's Super Value Menu.
Hi. Junior bacon cheeseburger, side salad, and a drink.
Because everything is always 99 cents.
Wait a minute. It's on us.
It's there for you.
Now Biggie size any Wendy's combo. You could win your choice of 3 exciting vacations at Universal Orlando Resort.
Is it too late to choose something else?
Take it from a company who's always loved this game, who manages the assets of Major League clubs and finances everything from the making of baseball gloves to the building of stadiums, and who last season became the official sponsor of Major League Baseball. There is nothing like the first time you make it to the majors.
Pete Schurik is the 3rd Boston pitcher, and while Pete is warming up, let's take a look at the upcoming New York Yankees broadcast schedule, which is brought to you by Nissan. We will be on the air at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Hideo Nomo against Andy Pettit, and then MSG carries the game at 11 o'clock on Monday morning. That's right, at 11 o'clock, Patriots Day weekend. And then the Yankees go to the Blue Jays, go to Toronto to play the Blue Jays, and all games will be carried by MSG before we hit the air for the Red Sox-Yankees next weekend. Paul O'Neill, nobody out, Jeter at first, a tie game. We're in the 8th inning. Breaking ball is low. Pete Schurik's last appearance for the Red Sox was on Thursday night when he faced 7 Baltimore Orioles and retired all of them. 7 in a row.
Only left-hander in their bullpen, so obviously he's in here to pitch to O'Neill and Justice.
That's a new move by Pete Schurik. He and Joe Kerrigan have been working on that. Really that balk move. But he did not have that move when he pitched for the New York Mets or the Houston Astros. One ball, no strikes to Paul O'Neill. Paul jammed, and he broke his bat.
Getting into that part of the game now. Here in the 8th inning, you can see where the shadows are. And you can see where the ball was on the bat, more towards the handle and the label. So Paul had to go back and get some new lumber.
Everybody knows that Don Zimmer has a new book out. It's called Zim, A Baseball Life. And he and Paul O'Neill are very, very close friends. Paul's from Columbus, Ohio. Zim originally from Cincinnati. And Paul, over the years, it's very, very funny. The Yankees are familiar with Paul, saying if he makes an out, he's quitting the game. He's quitting, I'm going back to Cincinnati. It's 1-1 right now to Paul. And he pops this one foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Zim, over the years, has kidded him. He said, look, I've got a fellow who works construction, owns a construction company down in Cincinnati, and I can get you a job if you want to quit. And Paul told me last week, he said, Zim, I said, what's that guy with the construction job in Cincinnati? And Zim said, oh, he's out of business. And Paul walked by, he said, that's why I'm playing this year. I've got to. I can't work construction in Cincinnati. High and in, 2-2 to It's hilarious. Zim talks about it in his book. Ducks out of the way of this high fastball. He said it last year, every at-bat, Armageddon.
Zim with many, many stories. 50-plus years in uniform, and you can collect a few stories around baseball.
Subdued crowd here at Fenway. Jeter on at first base. There is nobody out. 2-2 ball game here in the 8th. Breaking ball misses, says home plate umpire Tim Tashida. Red Sox can't believe it, but it's a full count to Paul O'Neill. So look for Jeter to run.
You make the call. You can see Paul with the arms up, indicating the breaking ball, but a sellout crowd with Pedro gone and Roger gone. Both of them that work very quickly. Schurik has slowed the game down tremendously.
There goes Jeter, and the fastball for strike 3. A delayed call by Tim Tashida and a delayed throw by Veritek. I said fastball, but it was a breaking ball. O'Neill strikes out, but Jeter steals second base. First steal of the year.
I think what Paul was so upset about was he felt like that was the same pitch that he got before, that Tashida called a ball. This time he called it a strike. He let it go, and he strikes out, but Jeter ends up at second.
Paul probably saying that those are similar pitches. They're either both strikes or both balls, not a ball and a strike. That's the one thing with a runner on at first base where you know he's running. You want a quick call from the umpire, the home plate umpire, if you're a catcher. Otherwise, why make the throw? If it's ball 4 and you throw to second, throw it wildly, the ball's in play. So O'Neill strikes out, and here's Justice. Strike 1.
Gutsy pitch by Schurik, though, striking out O'Neill with a breaking ball, having enough confidence that he can throw it over for a strike.
Outside, 1-1 to David Justice. David 0 for 3 on the afternoon.
Soriano has already stolen third base. If they don't pay attention to Jeter, he will take off too.
Good time to do it with 1 out.
Schurek's got that slow delivery.
Inside corner, strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to David Justice. Jeter on at second with 1 out. The Yankees have never had the lead in this game. Ground ball, second base, Offerman. Almost pulled Dahlbeck off the bag. So there are now 2 outs with Posada coming up.
Well, O'Neill's got that Armageddon look, and the reason for that is the last two pitches, one was called a ball. That looks similar to what he thought this pitch was, too. So he let it go, but this time Tashida calls it a strike.
You can see that delay by Veritek, too. A little double clutch. And the Red Sox are going to walk Jorge Posada. Sets up all sorts of possibilities. Tino Martinez will be hitting against a left-hander. And in last night's game, we brought up a point that on Thursday night, when the Red Sox were playing the Baltimore Orioles, they used a play with runners on at first and third, and I'll guarantee you that's what Torrey and Zimmer are talking about right now. If Tino gets 2 strikes, what do? Well, the catcher, Veritek, threw the ball to the shortstop, and the shortstop coming in nailed the runner. Now, the Yankees, you don't know whether they're going to do this, but I'm sure they're alert to this particular play.
This is a throw back to the shortstop, not to second base, and he nails the runner trying that double steal. A design play put on by the Red Sox in case the runner goes. And they had it nailed perfectly, and now Joe Kerrigan out to talk to Shurik, possibly to remind him.
And Graybeck's out there. The shortstop of the Red Sox is out on the mound. And Kerrigan is talking to the shortstop, to Veritek, and to Shurik. So one would suspect that if Posada with speed on at third base, that's where you want the speed, because he's the one that would score the run if the double steal is in effect.
Billy Martin used to put on a play, called it the dying of the injured quail, where the guy would kind of fall down between first and second and draw that throw just to see what was happening.
Curveball is inside to Martinez, meanwhile.
But it was strictly up to the third base runner to determine what he wanted to do. All design plays, though. Of course, Billy being a big hunter and bird hunter.
Breaking ball in there, 1-1 to Martinez.
Shurik has shown a lot of breaking balls to the left-handed hitters.
Two out, 2 on, 2-2 here in the 8th. Fastball misses, 2-2 now to Tino Martinez. Alfonso Soriano on deck. Two balls and 1 strike. Ground ball, great play by Dahlbeck. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, says the Yankees. What a play. Going to his right and diving to his left to preserve the tie. Still 2-2. The 8th inning, a 2-2 ball game in Yankees baseball, brought to you by Hyundai. Driving is believing, and seeing is believing. Here on this gorgeous afternoon in New England, chilly day. A lot of heat early in the game, furnished by Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens. Manny Ramirez will lead it off for the Red Sox here in the 8th inning. Facing Mike Stanton. So 2 left-handers in charge. Stanton of the Yankees and Shurik of the Red Sox.
You know, we were talking about Scott Brocious, and the last time he appeared in the outfield, well, back on the 27th of August. That was left field for the New York Yankees, and in center field back in 1997 when he was with the Oakland A's. Well, you can mark it down today. He is back in center field for the Yankees, so now he's played at least left and center and third for New York.
Derek Lowe warming for the Red Sox. Derek Lowe could have been the loser in last night's game. He ended up being the winner in last night's game. Gave up a run in the top of the 10th, but Manny Ramirez drove in 2 in the bottom of the 10th to win it for the Red Sox, and he singles here on the first pitch from Stanton. First hit of the day for Ramirez. Now keep in mind that Manny Ramirez has a sore left hamstring. So his running the bases precarious at best. He is not a fast runner under normal circumstances. Here's Troy O'Leary.
Ramiro Mendoza with 3 solid innings pitched last night. He is not available in the Yankee bullpen this afternoon.
You bunt with O'Leary here?
Well, I think if you bunt with O'Leary and you bunt Manny Ramirez down to second, you almost have to put in a pinch runner for Ramirez at second.
Or maybe put in one for him at first if you're going to bunt. No sign of that. That in mind, O'Leary's probably hitting. Nope. Looked like he wanted to one of those SWAT bunts toward third base.
Or bunt for a base hit.
If you're going to bunt in this situation, you've got to give yourself up. You can't even think about bunting for a base hit,
I agree, and you certainly don't bunt towards the third baseman either. You got to bunt towards the first baseman and make him field the ball.
1 ball, no strikes to O'Leary. Talking to several of the Red Sox administrators and uniform personnel before the game today, and I heard something about O'Leary that I'd never heard before, as you see Veritek on deck. When O'Leary is moving his feet around, he's not as comfortable at the plate. When his feet are firmly planted, he's comfortable. Before that pitch was on its way, those feet were moving as they're moving there, and he pops it up out of play. 2-1 to Troy O'Leary.
If you don't feel comfortable against left-handed pitching, obviously a lot of guys don't, and also with the shadows now that are in between the pitcher and the hitter, not allowing the hitter to get that good of a view from the baseball and the release point.
And a pinch runner for Manny Ramirez.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. For the Red Sox,
Darren Lewis probably, but why would you pinch run him after 3 pitches have been thrown? You got to do it one time or another, don't you?
I would think so.
So Darren Lewis is the pinch runner for Manny Ramirez.
Unless we're going to put a hit and run on. I don't.
Punch toward left field, Knobloch near the line, and it's a foul ball. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Troy O'Leary. The Red Sox will not be running here, but if the count goes to 3-2, probably. Toronto beating Kansas City for the 2nd day in a row, a Ford scoreboard. Stanton with enough of a move to first base to not allow the runner to get a good jump. Vicious breaking ball gets O'Leary. What a wicked curve to get O'Leary for the first out here in the 8th.
Somewhat the same type of pitch that got Paul O'Neill out. You can see that O'Leary, I mean, he's moving his feet. You said he's not comfortable, and you can see why he wouldn't be comfortable because of a curveball such as this.
Yeah.
Stanton has one of the most nasty curveballs in all of baseball.
First strikeout for Mike, and that'll bring up Veritek, the catcher. think a breaking ball with the shadows is tougher to pick up than a fastball. The fastball is quicker, but the multi-level of the breaking ball.
I totally agree with you. The multi-level being the high and then the low part of it, as compared to just a fastball that stays on basically the same plane.
There's another breaking ball. Conventional wisdom, we always used to hear, well, if the shadows are out, throw the fastball. I don't agree with that.
Anytime you can get those eyes to look up and look down, I mean, you've got a lot of movement in your eyes, a lot of movement in your head. And if you're not seeing the ball that well anyway.
No balls and a strike to Veritek with Darren Lewis on at first. 1 out, a 2-2 game. Could have been a splitter right there. Stanton does not throw that pitch very often, but when he does, very effective.
And Joe also has a lot of confidence in Stanton getting out right-handed. Obviously, last year probably would be a Nelson-type situation. Veritek being a switch hitter, though. But from the start with the right-handed hitter, Joe still has a lot of confidence that because of the split finger, because of the curveball and the good fastball that Stanton has, he can get right-handers out, too.
Check swing, Stanton, the line drive caught to Martinez for the double play. The Yankees got just what they wanted. A tie game and Ramirez out of the game. Still 2-2.
Ford Windstar is the first minivan to earn the government's highest quadruple 5-star safety rating. Sleep tight. Now get a Windstar and get 0-9 financing for 60 months or $2,000 cash back. Visit your Tri-State Quality Ford store today.
Ooh, that one there. Excellent choice. Ooh, it's all yours.
A rocky day on Wall Street. Today's big loser, Enormitel, down 93%. In weather.
Well, hello. Diversify your risk in virtually any sector. iShares Index Stocks. Ask your advisor.
Yo, pizza.
Yo, let me get a pizza.
Pizza. Anything on it?
Cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah, cheese.
Okay, mushrooms.
There's some mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Peppers, baby.
Peppers.
Peppers.
Don't forget anchovies.
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 Pineapple.
All right, pineapple.
Pineapple.
So that's a pizza with cheese?
Yeah.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
Peppers.
Yeah.
Anchovies and pineapple.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Bring it on.
Ooh, gassy, nasty.
When I drive with this little guy, I drive with confidence because I trust my brakes to Meineke.
At Meineke, you'll get a lot, but you won't pay a lot.
Yankees highlights and more.
Join us for the Fox 5 10 o'clock news.
Tonight.
Two-two ball game here in the top of the ninth, along with Bobby Mercer, Tim McCarver here at Fenway Park. We're back at you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And will Soriano be part of the story again? Probably. He's been all over the place today. 0 for 3, and yet his last trip around the bases, adventurous. Shows bunt, takes the ball. Man on first with nobody out. Soriano beats the throw at first base. Steals second on the 0-2 pitch. Fastball for a strike. At second with 2 outs. Steals third uncontested. And on the 3-2 changeup from Martinez, his first wild pitch of the year, Soriano scores the tying run. And that's why we are tied here in the ninth. Low, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike to Alfonso Soriano. Scott Brosius on deck. Pete Schurig, the pitcher for the Red Sox. Curveball grounded foul, 2-2 to Alfonso.
That's what Schurig has to stay away from, because Schurig will hang that curveball to the right-hander in the strike zone.
Bobby, that's an interesting point, because if Schurig is going to throw the slower breaking ball, Hillenbrand at third base has to be on the line to guard against the double. He's off the line, as you can see. And that curveball is a pitch that more apt for a right-handed batter. He's going to pull it down the line. So your pitching has to cooperate with your defense, too.
Yeah, if you're going to pitch them that way, play them that way.
Yeah. Deep to left field. And it's gone. Home run that hit the top of the wall and bounced into the net. And the Yankees take the lead for the first time today. Alfonso Soriano. Second home run of the year. How about that, as Mel Allen would say?
How about that is what Mel Allen would say. Jimmy Williams looking on as Soriano. And Joe Kerrigan, and I'm not so sure that it wasn't a breaking ball somewhere out over the plate, but I mean, it was a line shot.
Breaking ball, you're right.
Just above the wall, the green monster.
I think it hit the top of the wall and bounced into
over?
the net, I believe. Here's Brocious. 3-2 New York.
Well, we'll just take a look at it. It was inside, we know that. And let's see if it bounced off the green monster. Yeah, from that angle, I couldn't tell. But nevertheless, it's a home run. And that's all that matters.
One and one to Brocious.
This young man, Soriano's just taking the game in his own hands.
Inside, ball two. 2-1. An adventurous game last night. A stirring performance today. Man. Certainly quietens this crowd here at Fenway. 2-2 now to Brocious.
And you got the center fielder hitting.
What a game. What two games have these been the last couple of nights? Man. Yankees take the lead last night in the top of the 10th. 2-1. Red Sox win it. 2 out hit by Ramirez. This one lined, and that's what we were talking about, that curveball. Hillenbrand makes the play. But instead of having the third baseman on the line and having it routine, he had to dive to make it. 1 out.
It's just that slow, looping curveball, and the tendency, if the hitter makes contact, to pull the ball to the left side. Good play by Hillenbrand at third.
So Brocious is out, and here's Luis Sojo, the third baseman. Imagine his box score tomorrow. How goofy it's going to look.
Well, you do what you have to do, don't you?
Absolutely. Improvise. Ground ball back to Schurig. As Schurig throws out Sojo, Mariano Rivera in the bullpen is on about toss number 15. He'll be the pitcher in the bottom of the ninth.
Number 11, the left fielder, Chuck Knobloch.
Talk about 2 different ways to go around the bases in 2 consecutive at-bats with Soriano. He ran around the bases the first time with 2 stolen bases. He loped around the bases the second time because he didn't need to run, did he?
Yeah, he needs to work on his home run trottle with it, though. It's a little too fast right now.
Fastball is high to Knobloch.
One thing that we have seen as Yankee fans, and he has been touted as one of their top prospects for a long, long time. If you remember, Soriano last year was mentioned in every trade that the Yankees were talking about, and the Yankees would not give him up because they felt the potential was just too great for him, and certainly what a void he has filled so far for the Yankees.
You may remember, I think we talked briefly about the All-Star game here in 1999 when Pedro Martinez struck out 5. Well, 2 days before the All-Star game in 99, Alfonso Soriano hit 2 home runs in the minor league All-Star game held right here at Fenway Park. It was a Future Stars game. And boy, were they right about Soriano. A future star puts the Yankees on top. We'll be seeing Mariano Rivera in the bottom of the ninth.
Added performance. Added room. Added fuel efficiency. Added style. Added power. Go ahead. You do the math. The all-new Civic. Amazing, but true. Part of the special value collection, now at your Honda dealer.
Please? Ooh, how about in my den?
Upstairs.
Oh, spare me.
What do you want this?
How about back on the truck?
Love that print.
Hey, guys. Lunchtime.
I'd like to move in on that.
Hello, neighbors.
The Mickey D's Dollar Menu. Lots of different choices for lots of different tastes.
Introducing the all-new, completely restyled 2001 Hyundai Elantra.
The warranty's the best in America. You feel secure and you know you have someone to rely on.
The Elantra comes with the freedom of the Hyundai Advantage, America's best warranty plan, with standard features including air conditioning. All this plus automatic for just $12,799. It all adds up to a great value. Hyundai and the Jimmy Fund, helping kids fight cancer.
Tomorrow, the war in Fenway heats up. Catch all the action as Derek, Bernie, and the rest of the Bombers take on Carl Everett and the Green Monster. It's the Yankees against the Red Sox. Don't miss it. Yankee baseball tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Fox 5.
New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5 has been brought to you in part by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. Home to 5 of the 10 of the best sellers in America. By Continental. Being on time shouldn't be a perk. Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. By Wendy's, the best hamburgers in the business, and a whole lot more. And by Nissan. Driven. Both teams driven. The Red Sox winning last night 3-2, and the Yankees on top today 3-2.
And you would think that Mariano Rivera would be driven in this save situation after last night.
Number 10, Scott.
Mo's the kind of guy and the athlete that says, well, whatever happens, happens. That's in the past. Today is the present, and that's what I want to focus on.
Scott Hatteberg, the pinch hitter for Shea Hillenbrand, and a fastball strike. 0-1 to Hatteberg. Inside, 1-1 to Hatteberg. Of course, everybody who's been following the Yankees realize that right-handed batters probably have a better chance against Rivera than left-handers. Yet managers continue to pinch hit left-handers for right-handers. A broken bat, Rivera, as you said, the athlete he is, 1 out here in the ninth.
And that kind of pitch that the left-handers can't handle. Let's go back to last night. Manny Ramirez at the plate, and Posada gets crossed up with 2 men on. Yankees were leading at that time, and then Mo hung one up out over the middle, and Manny Ramirez, who had been 0 for 12 against Mariano in that situation, came through as the Red Sox win it 3-2 in the 10th inning.
We were talking about it last night, even going back to the hotel, Bobby, about how we had thought that ball was a little lower than it appeared to be, but that ball really, Ramirez a good low ball hitter. That ball above the belt.
You know, we were talking to Joe about that too, and he thought the ball was a little bit lower than what it actually was.
Dante Bichette has moved into the on-deck circle. It's a pinch hit for Graybeck. Here's Brian Daubach trying to speed it up, and he fouls it off. 0-1 to Daubach.
You know, Mo's simply the best closer in baseball. He had not blown a save since August the 18th at Anaheim last year, and had consecutively 11 saves in a row against the Boston Red Sox until last night.
Fastball is inside to Daubach. 1-1 to Bryan. 1 out with the Yankees on top by 1, thanks to Alfonso Soriano's second home run of the year. A solo shot in the 9th. Vintage Rivera. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It is nasty. This is really nasty with the shadows and that cutter. Look what the cutter's doing. Daubach wasn't even close to making contact.
Swinging over that fastball, and those are the shadows that Bobby was talking about. Rivera's tough enough when you can see. Ooh, 2-2 now to Daubach. Got him. Daubach down on strikes. First strikeout for Rivera, and that'll bring up Bichette. Dante Bichette as a pinch hitter.
Check it out. The ball just exploding in the strike zone and right up the ladder on Daubach.
Bichette only 0 for 3, all pinch hitting appearances this year. Strike 1.
You know, from the right side, the ball is going away from you, that cutter. So if it's starting on the outside part of the plate and the hitter swings at it, it's still moving away from you and your bat. So most of the time, you either miss it or hit it on the end of the bat.
0-2 to Bichette. Strike 3 called. Dante Bichette and Brian Daubach had no chance with the shadows and Rivera's fastball, as Mariano with another save. And the Yankees win it 3-2 thanks to the home run, his second of the year, Alfonso Soriano in the 9th inning.
2 well-played ball games. The Red Sox bested the Yankees in the first, and then the Yankees coming back this afternoon, and really untraditional, too, because Pedro Martinez, you wouldn't think that you would beat him here at Fenway, but the Yankees didn't beat him, but they beat the Red Sox. Let's take another look at that fastball on the inside corner. Look at Bichette. He was backing way away, and that caught plenty of the plate. Mo really popping the ball in this inning. I mean, he had some juice on it.
Almost like he came back and said, well, I might have blown the save last night, but you're not going to touch me today. Alfonso Soriano. What a ball game he played, involved in all the scoring. The defensive snafu that allowed the Red Sox to score 2, and then winning it with the home run in the 9th inning after an adventurous trip around the bases the time before. That's our General Motors play of the game as the Yankees win it 3-2. 8 hits for New York, only 6 for the Red Sox. Mike Stanton winning his first game of the year, and Pete Schurig losing his first game of the year. Mariano Rivera with his 3rd save. A quirky game here at Fenway. Keep in mind that tomorrow we'll be on the air at 1 o'clock. It'll be Hideo Nomo. No, they call him here at Beantown. He'll be opposed by Andy Pettitte. Coming up next, Stargate here on Fox 5. And we talked about how quirky it was. Joe Torre signing autographs before the game. Chuck Knobloch checking out the scores. One of the oldest scoreboards in the country. Ramirez, Soriano, on his way to scoring the tying run. Great defense. Soriano with the winning run. For my partner, Bobby Mercer, I'm Tim McCarver. We will see you mañana.